All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of the Market Close. It is Wednesday, August 13th, and today has been a bit of a weird day. When I mean weird, I mean it has been freaky. And I'm about to explain why. We've got a lot of headlines going on. We have earnings after the bell. We have Robinhood July metrics after the bell. We have Sam, who was on my show about a month ago talking about Nebius. He'll be on at 4:30, and he'll give us his updated thoughts on the markets and that stock as well. But this is a weird day. You've got Bitcoin that is less than 1% away from all-time highs. You've got Ethereum that is less than $80 away from all-time highs. And then you've got Hoodie, which I did buy the dip at 107.50, so it's up from there, but still down 5% on the day. That's bleeding on the day where Bitcoin and Ethereum are very close to all-time highs. Coinbase is barely up on the day that Bitcoin and Ethereum are hitting all-time highs. Grab, for whatever reason today, pumped to 515. Now it's at 511. Looks like we're going to get a $5 close on Grab. That's up 2.3%. Palantir, we'll talk about that. We got a major headline on Palantir. We'll get into that for a second. Bitmine flat on the day. AMD is up 5% based on some headline around NVIDIA's chips. AMD was at 186. Now it's at 183. NVIDIA's down based on that headline. Tesla was almost 350. Now Tesla's 340. The Qs go red as we get into the close. The S&P 500 still up. S&P was 646. I mean, it's just been a weird day back and forth. Duolingo was $307 3 hours ago. Now it's at 323. I think you've had a lot of algos go back and forth. You've had a lot of people maybe take some profits just out of pure fear. You've obviously had people maybe want to secure some profits, given they're up a lot. AppLovin, you could have bought it at 350 last week. It's at 446. Does it deserve to be down 5% on the day? Probably not. I don't really see the reason for why. It's just a lot. It's just a lot of different headlines going on right here. And we'll talk more about some of these headlines. But the biggest headline, which let's get into right now, is Palantir has a new short seller. I've been waiting for this to happen. I think all of us have been waiting for this to happen. It has been a while since we've seen a high-profile short come into the Palantir community. Andrew Left of Citron Research, the guy that blew up his hedge fund shorting GameStop, is now short Palantir. Here's his thesis, and then we'll talk about it after this plays.
To the big short you are taking right now, and that is against Palantir. Palantir has been a huge momentum stock. They've continued to increase their profits and increase their sales. This is a hot company. What do you see here that tells you to short Palantir?
It's not what I see here. It's obvious in this way. Unfortunately, it's become a retail darling. It's a great stock. The last thing I am is a hater. I like Alex Karp. I like Alex Karp's politics. I like Alex Karp as a person. He's a feared leader. I think the company has done some great mission control data analysis. It's a wonderful company. But if this was the greatest company that was ever created, and we gave it the same multiples, let's say NVIDIA in 2023, the stock still can get cut by 2/3, and that would be like 35 times sales. I stopped even looking at the ratios because they become so absurd.
Well, the forward PE.
What's the forward PE?
290. Okay, folks, that is huge.
So the crazy part about it is if you're Alex Karp, and if I put that into Foundry, if I put that into a Palantir system, you can't be a company that analyzes big data and then tells investors to ignore big data, because there's never been a company that has had that type of multiple or that type of PE that's not corrected 50%.
Okay, but people, let's just say a month ago, said Palantir's too rich. Since then, it's up 24% over 1 month. Over 6 months, up 57%. Year to date, up 145%. The Wall Street is littered with at least more than a few people who bet against this company. Why do you think you're right at this moment in time?
I'm probably not. I mean, it could go higher. It's part of being a short seller or being short any stock. I don't expect to pick the absolute high in the market whatsoever. I have a balanced portfolio. I'm long a lot of NASDAQ names. I'm long Amazon. I'm long Apple. I think those are wonderful names. And I happen to be short Palantir. When the market does correct, if the market does correct, when the problem with the Palantir, if you own the stock, and I don't know where it is right now as I speak to you. Let's say it's at $185.
184.58.
If it goes to 165, do I want to buy it now? Or if it goes to 155, I mean, the stock really does not get cheap till the stock's $40, $50. I mean, the stock really becomes, it's still the greatest company that ever was on a multiple scale if the stock's $65, $70. And that's why running a balanced portfolio, I'm short Palantir.
Right now, it's got that competitive moat that Warren Buffett talks about. It is best in class. Databricks hasn't gone public. You have said, at least in the commercial break, you just said, watch out for Databricks when it does go public. Why?
Well,
what do you think it has?
All right, so that's his short thesis, and the Palantir right here is down a bit on the day, as some of these high growth stocks are getting a bit of multiple compression. We're going to get Robinhood metrics in about 10 minutes. I think Robinhood, we're going to see some insider selling. I don't know why it's down 5% outside of insider selling. So I think if we see some insider selling today, that wouldn't surprise me. I mean, a 5% down day on a day like this with the S&P 500 hitting all-time highs, Bitcoin, Ethereum trying to hit all-time highs is just weird. So it might be algos or it might be insider selling. But Palantir right here down 1.4%. Look, here's my response to Andrew Left. It's pretty simple. We know Palantir's valuation is aggressive. We understand that. But like he said himself, I don't even want to look at the ratios anymore because the ratios aren't relevant. I think he's making the point. If you're trying to judge this company on forward PE, price to sales, price to earnings, etc., every time you've tried to do it from 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100, 120, 130, 140, now at 180, it hasn't worked. Maybe this is when it works. I don't know. Maybe this guy will be right. But those have not been the qualitative, or those have not been the quantitative metrics to take away from the quality of the business. And the ironic part is that the quality of the business is leading to really amazing quantitative metrics, aka 48% growth top line in Q2 and a 2% short flow. So maybe Andrew Left becoming more public with it is going to get more people to short it, maybe, and that could cause some manipulation, that could cause some pain in the stock. But the reason I think the shorts have stayed away largely is because they can't deny the quality of the company. The other thing that's really important to understand is C3 AI and Big Bear AI have guided for negative 20% growth over the next fiscal year in 2025. And that's because the earnings have not been strong enough to justify any commercial or government momentum. Those stocks have gotten destroyed. I think part of the reason people have piled into Palantir is not only they have had an amazing quarter, people have been trying to look for what software names are out there that can actually outperform. And C3 AI is not doing it for you. Big Bear AI is not doing it for you. IGV, compared to the semis, IGV is the software ETF, has lagged in comparison to SMH. SMH hit an all-time high today because Salesforce, Adobe, all these software names have been really bad performers, likely because they don't have the AI tailwind, not only because, maybe they're not doing a good job marketing their AI moat, but because they haven't shown the type of growth that you would want to see out of an AI stock. And as a result, that's why I think Palantir is getting its multiple. So we're going to see, dude. I mean, maybe he's right about it. I'm not going to be here and say Andrew Left is definitely going to be wrong. The company is trading at a pretty aggressive valuation. But I personally wouldn't short a company that put up the metrics that they just did in Q2, especially the way they've guided for the rest of the year. And so now we're going to see, is this short at 185 something that ends up becoming a great return for him, or if it's going to be bad in the long term. So that's what we got on Palantir. Now, again, the rest of the market today has been very wonky. You got Robinhood down 5%. Duolingo's now up after being down 7%. Amazon 224, that's green. Grab up 2.3. BMNR, again, they have $20 billion they can dump on shareholders whenever they want. I was actually reading the SEC filing today, and based on what I read, it confirms at whatever price BitMine determines they want to dump shares, they're allowed to dump shares. And so that is the one, I guess, risk here. But if you don't think that's a risk because you believe that Ethereum is going up in the long term, then that's kind of all that matters. Then that's, how you just have to conceptualize it. But Ethereum right here, 4,700. BitMine was at 71 today. Now it's down. United Health catching a bid. That's up 4% on the day. Tesla going flat on the day. PayPal actually up 4% as well. So you're seeing PayPal and United Health getting a little bit of momentum. CoreWeave, ugly day, down 20%. Again, the earnings were okay, but they weren't the best. And that's why that stock got hit. Also, it ran up a lot going into earnings. And so that's some of the downside pressure you are seeing as well. After the bell, we get Cisco and D-Local. So we'll be taking a look at their earnings. And we also get Robinhood July metrics. I think those July metrics are going to be very good, regardless the stock selling off. Maybe it has to do with an institution or an insider selling. But we're going to see after the bell. EPS, the street's expecting 98 cents for Cisco and $14.62 billion in revenue. By the way, Cisco has been an absolute killer this year in terms of stock performance. It is up 19%. Which is not too bad. And then D-Local, we're going to see what happens as well. Now, speaking of Palantir and retail names, Goldman Sachs came out with a note to their clients this morning. And here's what they said. We advise clients to buy calls on the following names: Palantir, AMD, UPS, Warner Brothers, and EA Sports. This is an actual note they put out to their clients today. And their logic was, we see the potential for elevated upside asymmetry in stocks with high retail participation. So you got Andrew Left that's shorting Palantir. And then you have Goldman Sachs saying, hey, you should buy calls on Palantir. And the nuance from my perspective, as someone who I would say is pretty objective on Palantir, even though I know people don't think that, is I wouldn't buy a call on Palantir, but I also wouldn't short Palantir. So I don't agree with any of these guys. I would not be buying calls on Palantir right now. Like, the valuation is aggressive, and calls mean you have unlimited, or you have you could lose all your money, right? You don't actually get to DCA into the shares and at least hold the shares, even if it goes down. You lose all your premium. And then shorting also, you have unlimited downside. So there's no value, in my opinion, to shorting. So you have two Wall Street titans, one in Andrew Left shorting it, and then one in Goldman Sachs recommending to buy calls on it. I also wouldn't buy calls on AMD. AMD has run up a decent amount since the lows of April. Same thing with Palantir. And that's, part of the reason I wouldn't buy calls on any of these names. And so it's just weird that Goldman Sachs is saying, hey, lean into the retail momentum and buy calls, not buy stock, buy leveraged financial instruments against these assets. It's weird, dude. It is kind of weird. It's been a weird day all around in terms of getting in terms of getting some of this momentum to the upside and to the downside. So that's what you got from Goldman Sachs. Kind of feels like Goldman Sachs wants exit liquidity, but it also feels like, hey, if you tell your clients to buy calls on Palantir and then Palantir tanks, your clients are going to be pissed off, right? So to some extent, I guess there's some logic that they're trying to warn their clients about in regards to retail momentum. And apparently UPS, Warner Brothers, and EA Sports, I can get Palantir and AMD. The other three I did not know were retail darlings. Goldman Sachs, as their research is indicating, that's a retail darling. Another name that might be a retail darling today is Bullish. Bullish is up 90% on its IPO. Let me know if anyone sold any of their shares today. I see someone right here says, Matthias says, I made 200% on my 12 shares of Bullish. A lot of people underneath my post when I posted about it showed the screenshot of them selling. So retail took advantage of this. At one point, this got to $118. And now it's back down to 80. You got this person who made 1,300. You got this person who made 900. You had a bunch of other people in the comments. This person made $2,000. I mean, a lot of retail said, screw this. We're not taking a chance on this one. We are taking some profits. I see a lot of you in the chat saying that you sold. Vikas sold at 95, 30 in a wake up. I put in for 1,000 BLS shares and I got 12 shares. I sold them at 93. Yeah, no one cared about the flipping ban that Robinhood will put on you. And I think it makes sense because, dude, $20 billion for Bullish. Are you kidding me? I don't understand that market cap at all, or that valuation. Stock is still up 90%. So people are still buying it right here at 70. So successful IPO, but I think if you took profits here today, not a horrible thing. Cause sold at 113. Victor sold at 96. Tuan sold and made $2,600. Ash sold at 91. Yeah, I don't think that is the worst idea. All right, so we've got earnings coming up in about 40 seconds. We've got these Robinhood metrics. Again, really weird day for Hoodie with a 5% drawdown, given all the macro stuff that's playing out. S&P trying to close at 645. That would be its first 645 close ever in history. But we are going to see these metrics probably at like 405 for Robinhood. They should be out 5 minutes after the bell. I don't think the stock's really going to react to it. Maybe the stock does, but I'm more curious to see the insider selling, which I think happened today. A 5% drawdown. But there was also insider selling like a week ago, which was it was almost like $300 million worth of stock. So you did have substantial insider selling already. So maybe that's not the reason. Maybe it's an institution. We're going to see. But Robinhood right here down about 4.85% of the day. And then Palantir closing in on about 1.4% down on the day. All right, folks, here we go. Wednesday, August 13th. Thank you, everybody, for being here. The stock market is now closed. All right, there we go. Markets have closed. I'm going to put a poll in the chat right here on what do we think, which one outperforms. Let me know if anyone owns any of these names, Cisco or Delo. And we're going to see what we get on earnings. Palantir closed the day down 1.39%. If you're just joining, Andrew Left of Citron Research is short Palantir. He is one of the most prolific short sellers. He also did blow up his account in 2021 with GameStop when he shorted it. But one angle I forgot to mention is that this could empower retail to buy the stock to go against him because people just don't like him. Again, there's a lot of different dynamics on how this could play out. Maybe he's right, maybe he's wrong, but he is short Palantir after they put up 48% revenue growth with a 2% short float. S&P 500, 644.88 closes on the day, up 0.34%. MicroStrategy was down about 1%. Grab gets a 512 close, not bad. Got to 515, 512 close. Not too bad for grabby grab. Bitmine right here down about 1.5%. Nvidia down 1%. AMD closes at 184. Not too bad. 52-week highs was at 186. That's up 5.37% of the day, which is really good. Tesla right here is down about 0.5%. The Qs actually ended green, even though it was flat. Kava, nasty day, down 16%. After their earnings, Big Bear AI was down 3%. Circle was down 6% after the offering that they did. CoreWeave ended down 20% on the day. And D-Lo and Cisco is what we're going to be looking for. D-Lo's up a little bit. There you go. That's up about 1.4%. And Cisco is flat. We're going to see what we get on Cisco. And then Hoodie down 4% of the day, 4.79. We will get the metrics probably in like 3 minutes, maybe sooner, on what we see for the month of July. Okay, there we go. Robinhood right here, 108.62. Again, S&P 644.87. You got the S&P going up a little bit after hours. Duolingo, again, did get hit, but then it recovered throughout the end of the day. So I guess people stepped in at 307. Lulu up 4% on the day. This one has been down about 60% for the year. Next decade, this was down 2.29. And VG was up 14% in the morning. VG ended 12% of the day, which is not too bad either. Ryan says, Amit, I'm buying a house. Congratulations, Ryan, on buying a house. Also, mortgage rates this morning came in at 6.77%, lowest we've seen in 4 months. So hopefully you were able to get somewhat of a decent rate. By the way, refinance applications on mortgages also was at a 5-month high. And we'll talk about that later as well. But the housing market, I think, is trying to get ready to open up based on now a 99% probability of a rate cut, which is what the new probabilities look like. And hopefully that does allow more people to buy and sell a home. D-Local now down 1% after hours. We'll get their earnings in a second. Cisco flat after hours as well. Hoodie metrics are not out yet. Again, they should be out very soon, but not officially out yet. Yeah, we don't have D-Local or Cisco yet either. Intuitive Machines, $250 million convertible note. That's Lunar, if I'm not wrong. That's their ticker symbol, right? Yep. That stock's down 10%. This is a $1.87 billion company. This matches the trend of various companies around this market cap that have started to do convertible notes and take advantage of their high share price. So there you go. Lunar. That one is down 10% based on this $250 million convertible note offering due senior notes October 1st, 2030. Why is Oklo down on good news? Oklo's up almost 230% year to date. So I know they got a big contract with the Department of Energy today, but again, the stock's up a lot. And so you might have some people selling into that strength. Obviously, there's no revenue, there's no really earnings, so it's more than priced in at this point. There's no even number on the contract value that they got from the DOE. So people are buying potential right here, but that's why this stock probably was down about 1.3%. Robinhood moving a little bit after hours. Don't have the metrics yet. Earnings are D-Lo and Cisco. They are not out yet. Probably in a couple minutes. Cisco might be at 410 or it might be at 405, which means we'll get the numbers. But July metrics for Hoodie, not out yet. Is Deere having earnings today? Really? I think Deere is next week. I'm pretty sure it's if I'm wrong, then we will look at Deere as well. No, Deere is tomorrow. Deere is tomorrow morning. Tomorrow morning. On the 14th. Amid, is there a world where we would get a rate cut and then the market would pull back and buy the rumor, sell the news? Yeah, I mean, it's possible. The market, I would say, is priced for a rate cut. So is there a world in which we get a rate cut and the market sells off? Of course, I think that's possible. It depends on the macro environment, when we get a rate cut and how the rate cut goes along with CPI and the jobs market, et cetera. I think net rate cuts are bullish because you're going to have a lot more money coming into the equity markets as long as the labor market sustains itself. But is it possible that we can get a sell the news on a rate cut? Yes, that could happen. I just think going into the end of the year, if Q3 earnings are good and the labor market's strong, then rate cuts would be a tailwind for the broader markets. Okay, July metrics not out yet. IBKR was down 6% today. Okay, so they targeted all the brokerages today. That doesn't make sense. Webull, was that down 5%? Webull was down 4%. So all of them got hit today. Makes me think it might not be an insider sell. It might just be algos. D-Local up 10%. D-Local's pumping. D-Local up 10%. I do not have the numbers yet. I will try to get it in a second. D-Local is up 10%. Okay, I got Cisco. Cisco beats by 1% on EPS, 99 cents versus 98 cents. They beat on revenue 14.67 versus 14.62. EPS is up 14% year over year. Revenue is up 8% year over year. Cisco is down 4%. Cisco's down 4%. Adjusted operating margin is 34.3% on Cisco. So you got a beat on the top and the bottom, but that stock is down. And D-Local, it looks like revenue 256 versus 229. That's a beat. Gross margins 39%. Adjusted EBITDA 70.1 versus 53.9. That's a beat. And EBITDA margins 27%. That looks not bad. D-Local is up 15%. There you go. When is Buffett's 13F? It might come out today. I mean, I'll keep monitoring after hours these 13Fs. We got a couple of them this morning, but the deadline is Friday for all of them. So if they don't come out today, then they should be coming out tomorrow. But I will keep an eye on it. D-Local right here up 18, up 17%. Up 17%. I do not have Robinhood's metrics yet. Might be at 410, so you might have to give it a second. But those are not out yet. Bullish is going down after hours. Is it? Bullish is, no, it's up. It's up 2.4%. I mean, it's down from the highs of the day, but it's up 2.7% after hours. Webull down a little bit. Cisco is down 4%. D-Local up 14%. I mean, D-Local, those are pretty good earnings. That's a beat across the board, especially on the guidance estimates. So I can understand how the street's happy about it. This stock also has not made that big of a move this year. And so a good earnings with a stock that's kind of consolidated is not horrible. Yeah, Buffett might be Thursday. The deadline for all 13Fs is Friday. So it could be released today. It's just up to whenever they put it out. But more likely than not, tomorrow we will see most of these 13Fs, 13Gs. Robinhood, still no metrics. Should be coming out soon. Not there yet. Hoodie after hours, basically flat. I am refreshing. I don't see it. Oh, there it is. All right, we got it, folks. Here we go. Here we go. Metrics are out. I am seeing it for the first time with you guys as I scroll down the metrics. Here we go on Robinhood for July 2025. Funded customers, 160,000 in the month of July. Not bad. Not bad at all. Assets, 298 billion. They are 2 billion away from 300 billion on total platform assets. Net deposits, 6.4 billion. May and June were 3.5. So that is a doubling of May and June for Robinhood. And cash sweep, that's a record amount of cash on the platform, 33.6 billion. Equities, wow. First time ever, 209 billion. That's up 100% year over year, 17% month over month on equities. Options, 196 million contracts. That's up 16% year over year, month over month, 22% year over year. That's an all-time high. Crypto, baby, she's back, 16.8. We needed that one. Crypto, 16.8. Robinhood has also increased their take rate by more than 30% year over year. So not only is that up 217% year over year, that's up 110% month over month. Not sure if that's replicatable in August and September, but then again, August, for the past couple of weeks, we've had massive momentum with Ethereum, which is why I keep saying Ethereum is very bullish for Robinhood. And that is a 6-month high on Robinhood crypto notional volume metrics. And then margin book, 11.4 billion, almost 12 billion of margin that Robinhood gives out. And they get a juicy net interest income from the percentage. And they have the lowest percentage in the industry, lower than Schwab and Fidelity, on their margin book. So there you go. Not bad. Not bad at all. Stock usually doesn't react to this stuff. Stock is up a little bit. You're at 109.11. It closed at what, 108? I think we closed at, yeah, it's up 0.5%. Nothing crazy. But these are not these metrics are not a reason why I think the stock will be down 5%, right? Like if you're selling it off to take profits, that's fine. But when you look at those metrics, and if August and September are even a third as good as those, this is going to be a massive quarter. This is going to be a massive, massive quarter. So there you go. The stock tends to not move on this stuff. Last time the stock realistically moved, I remember it was like 1640 back in May of 2024, and it pumped to like 1880 on really good metrics. Some of you guys might have been live with me when we saw that play out, but now, it tends to not move. Also, Robinhood's up a lot over the past year. So this is not going to be the thing that moves it, but these are amazing metrics. These are amazing. They are well on their way to 500 billion in assets. They added 160,000 users in the month. Net deposits are booming. Cash sweep is at a record high. And then equities, 200 billion, options, 196 million, crypto at 16 billion, and then margin at 11.4. This is not bad. This is not bad. I will check for insider selling. I think we get the actual insider SEC filings at 4:30. So it might take a second to update. Today is what, August 13th? Last time Robinhood had a sale was August 5th. So we haven't seen, or August 7th. So we haven't seen an insider sell in about a week. We'll see today if there was something dramatic. And if there was, then we'll see what it looks like. Yeah, this right here happened August 7th. This comment right here, Beju, who's one of the co-founders and the chief legal officer, that was August 7th. So that's why I'm like saying, like, maybe it's insider selling today that caused the 5% drawdown. But if it's insider selling from a week ago, like, you know, the stock is those shares have already been sold. So the actual selling pressure today, either it's an algo, which given IBKR and Webull were down 5%, it's a little suspicious. All the brokerages were down at the same time. Or it was an actual insider sell, or there was a major institution dumping. And I think we'll see as these 13Fs come out as well. Robinhood right here up a little bit after hours. Ethereum 4,700. D local, is that one still moving? That one is still moving, up 7.4%. And Cisco, that one is down 3%. That one is down 3%. Let's see if we can get some coverage on this, and then we'll get into some of their macro headlines. We will have Sam joining in about 20 minutes, and he'll break down Nebius as he was talking about a month ago on the channel. And then we'll keep going from there. Okay, no coverage on some of these earnings yet. We'll see what we can get. Delo's now up 7%. It was up 15%. Cisco, I don't know why that one's tanking. Now, Cisco was up year to date, but still, it's good earnings by Cisco. Oh, we got Bridgewater's 13F. Okay, guys, this might turn into a long stream. If you guys were with me back in May, it turned into a really long stream when we got all the 13Fs at once. I don't know if that happens today, but if we are starting to get some of these 13Fs after the bell, that might be the focus of this close, trying to analyze what we got. So let me see if I can pull up Bridgewater. I see it in the comments. Let's see if I can get the actual 13Fs. Oh, yep, I got to disclose right now. All right, here we go. You guys ready? Bridgewater. Also, yes, just to say it right now to everybody, I will not be doing a show tomorrow at all in the morning or in the afternoon. I have some people coming in to move in the sofa and the couch and the bed for the new apartment. So unfortunately, it's at 10 a.m. to 1 p.m., which means I got to be there at like 9 p.m. or 9 a.m. So we will not have a market open or a market close tomorrow. It's the first time in a long time we haven't had a market open, market close, but yes, we are. I'm going to have my own separation anxiety, but we'll figure it out. You don't need a bed. Unfortunately, I need a bed. I would want to stream from the apartment tomorrow too, but it's just going to be hard, dude. It's going to take a long time to set everything up. So tomorrow's there's no point of trying if you can't actually do a good stream. So we'll be back on Friday. All right, here we go. Bridgewater. Are you ready? Bridgewater, let's get into it. Let's start off with new positions. This was disclosed just now, August 13th. New positions. There are 85 new positions. Okay, so let's go down the board and let's see what they have. Yo, these comments. Again, the most unhinged chat on YouTube. The Cougars pulling up to the apartment. Literally the most unhinged chat on YouTube. All right, here we go. I'm looking through some of these names. Lyft is a new position. 2.4 million shares. 2.4 million shares. If you guys see something I don't see, you can put it in the chat, but I'm trying to look for the names that most of us recognize. Zion, that's a regional bank, 174,000 shares. Ulta Beauty, 58,000 shares. Makeup. Ray Dalio has stepped down from Bridgewater, but still Bridgewater is a massive, massive hedge fund. So we should see some interesting sells or buys. Okta, that's a security platform, SaaS company, 231,000 shares, new holding. Chewy, they bought 44,000 shares. Chewy. Amgen, they bought 7,000 shares. ARM, they bought 473,000 shares. KeyBank, that's another bank, 76 or 763,000 shares. HubSpot software, 18,000 shares. Flutter, no, that's not Flutter. That's Fault. That's different. That's finance. And those are it. Those are it. We'll go deeper into it, but from what I'm seeing right now, the names that I recognize are ARM, Amgen, Chewy. Do they have A-Lab? Do they have A-Lab? Yo, they do have A-Lab, 80,000 shares. They have A-Lab. So they got that one. Stone, some of you guys may know that one. STNE, 144,000 shares. They bought that. Okta, we know that one. Oh, TFC, regional bank, 216,000 shares. Financials, and then they got Lyft. That's a big one, dude. 2 million shares on Lyft. That's a big one. That's a big one. Okay, so Bridgewater does own Grab. Let's see if they added to Grab. I'm going to do added to. Let's Command F grab. Let's see. Oh, I found it. Wow, they added 3.9 million shares, baby. 3.9 million shares to Grabby Grab. Not bad. Bridgewater, 3.9 million shares to Grabby Grab. Okay, so Bridgewater is now loaded up with a 10.5 million share position worth 53 million bucks. Okay, not bad. Dude, last time they had 6 million, they just added 4 million. That's 10.5 million. There you go. Bridgewater. You got some money. Grab after hours. Grab is 512. 512 after hours on the street. I don't expect this to move the news. I just want to know, is big money loading up? That's what I'm curious about. We're going to see Howard Marks soon as well and see what he did. But there you go. 4 million shares on Grab. Let's see what else he added to. There's about 200 positions. Okay, so let's take a look on this screen and let's Grab will go up 6 cents tomorrow now. Yeah, exactly. We'll get to 5.17 tomorrow. That'll be our move. He added to Capital One. I keep saying he because I say Ray Dalio, but he's not part of it anymore. But Bridgewater. They added to Atlassian. They added to Arista, 57,000 shares. Google, wow, they bought 2.5 million shares of Google. 2.5 million. They now have a $1 billion position, 5.6 million shares of the Googs. Again, this is Q2. Theoretically, they could have sold since this has been disclosed. So they could have also sold Grab since they disclosed this. But, if you believe they're kind of creating some long-term positions in these names and they have consistently added, then they likely are holding on to some of these names, even if they trimmed a little bit of these positions. But Google, wow, $1 billion from Bridgewater. Airbnb, they added 126,000 shares. Adobe, they added 146,000. I know a lot of people are talking about this as a software name that is undervalued. Abercrombie, they added 49,000. And then AbbVie, they added 493,000. The sector they label Google in is communications, not technology. Yeah, I mean, they could be thinking about it as a communications play as well. Okay, there's another page. That was the first 100. We have another 106 of what they added to. Again, the headline from Bridgewater added about 4 million shares of Grabby Grab. Johnson & Johnson, they added 1.9 million. Marvell, they added 371,000. Did they add Hood? Do they own Hood? I don't see a Command F on Hood. We'll check in a second. NVIDIA, 4.3 million. They now have 1.1 billion, 7.2 million shares of NVIDIA. That's a massive buy on NVIDIA. My goodness. Pinterest, they added 463,000 shares. Salesforce, they added 597,000 shares. 466,000. Spotify, 263,000. SMCI, they added 418,000. Twilio, 200,000. Uber, 3.1 million. 3.1 million. I'll put the link in the chat for anyone who wants to check this out. This is Whale Wisdom, which gets all the updates on the 13Fs. Okay, we have 6 more. Let me see. The last ones are Workday. They added 233,000 shares. Yelp, they added 42,000 shares. Zoom, they added 109,000 shares. Okay, so let's see what they sold. They might have sold Hoodie. Let's see. Closed out Hoodie. Did they sell Hood? They sold all their Hood. 516,000. All right, so they took profits on Hood. So, I mean, look, that's fair. Hood ran up a lot. It's not that crazy. So they took some profits on Hood. So they sold 516,000 shares on Hood. I don't think they ever owned Tesla, so I don't see any Tesla here. Hood is the main one I'm seeing that they sold. They sold Royal Caribbean, 23,000 shares. A lot of finance, that is correct. Upwork, they sold 22,000 shares. VOO, they sold 7,600 shares. And that's pretty much it. Actually, they have some more. Levi's, they sold 10,000 shares. And Deckers, they sold 390,000 shares. Delta Airlines, they sold 1.6 million shares. C3 AI, they sold 10,000 shares. AMAT, they sold 6,000 shares. Baidu, they sold all their shares. Wow, Baba, they dumped Baba. 5.6 million. Dude, Dalio's been on this China stuff for a long time. I know Dalio doesn't run it anymore, but still, his philosophy influenced the firm. They dumped their Baba and they dumped their Baidu. Baidu, they had 2 million shares as well. That's 7 million shares of China tech. that they dumped. D-Lo after hours, Robinhood is relatively flat. D-Lo is up, wow, 20. Hold on. That's for the day, 20%. After hours is up 14%. 14% on D-Lo after hours. Okay, so those are the headlines from Bridgewater. You added 4 million shares to Grab. That was one of their biggest ads in terms of number of shares. There you go, 3.938 million. They sold all their hood, which it is what it is. I think they bought at 40. If they sold at like, even 80, 90, that's a great profit for them. And that's some of the main highlights you got from this one. They added a lot of financials. Oh, they added Broadcom too, 216,000 shares to Broadcom. Duolingo they sold, did they? Let me see. Closed out Duolingo. Yeah, they sold all their Duolingo. Okay, so let me check Reduced. So Reduced is not closed out. Reduced is just, they took some profits. Amazon, they sold 80,000 shares. Apple, they sold 583,000 shares. ASML, they sold 25,000 shares. Again, these were all disclosed today, 2025, 8/13, August 13th. XYZ, they sold 254,000 shares. Cisco is down after hours. AMD, they sold AMD. They sold 400,000 shares of AMD. Now, they still have 1.7 million, but they sold 400,000 shares of AMD. Celsius, they sold 2,500 shares. Not that crazy. CEG, energy stock, they sold 800,000 shares. DBX, they sold 253,000 shares. Those are some of the main names I'm seeing after hours. Bill, they sold 32,000 shares. And looks like those are some of the main names. Again, AMD, they also took some of their profits right there. Ally, they also sold 32,000 shares. Okay, there you go. There you go. They don't own SoFi, from my understanding. Bridgewater does not have a position in that. Although there was a fund today that bought SoFi that I'll show you guys in a second. It's another fund that's out there. SoFi right here closed at 23.81. Good day for SoFi. They didn't get the $24 close, but that's okay. Good day for SoFi. Ethereum right here, 4,700, and then Robinhood moving up a little bit after hours based on that July metric that we got. Okay. Not too bad. Again, for those wondering why Hood's down 5% of the day, again, my two things are, number one, it seems like the algos took away Hood, IBK, and Webull, so all the brokerages got hit today. Number two, again, we can't be greedy, guys. We cannot be greedy. The stock was at $29. It's not at $115. It's at $108 now. I know those $7 makes a difference. Trust me, I got a lot of shares. The $7 makes a big difference, but I'm also not greedy, right? Like at the end of the day, people are taking their profits. Now, I do think it was very weird how it coincided with the July metrics and some of the other brokerage platforms that were down today. We'll see if there's any insider selling later, but at the end of the day, very high beta, very liquidly traded. So not crazy to see some people take their profits here. Don't see any SEC filings yet on Robinhood yet, so I don't see any new insider selling. Seth Klarman is out on Data Roma. Oh, guys, I think this might be a long stream. I think we're going to get a decent amount of these disclosed today after hours. What's his name? Sam will be here in 5 minutes, so we'll take a break and we'll talk to Sam. He has to be out at 5, and then we'll get back to this if we do get a lot more of these today. All right, here we go. Google, they added 26%. Seth Klarman manages $4.1 billion. $4.1 billion. He added to Google 26%. Looks like smart money was buying the Googs, 2.6 million shares. They added 26% to Dollar General. Okay, 2.6 million shares as well. 2.63 on Google. They added 150% for Elevance Health. This is one that I think got hit from the whole UNH stuff, if I'm not wrong. ELV stock, is that down year to date? That is down 20% year to date. Yes, so they're buying healthcare on the dip. They bought Fiserv, 895,000 shares. They reduced Eagle Materials, Visat, GDS. They added Liberty Broadband Corp. They added Herbalife. They bought Amcor, and they bought PagSeguro. Relatively concentrated portfolio. The biggest add right here seems to be Google and Dollar Tree. Also CRH, they added 41% to that. And that is what you got. ELV is classic Klarman, 100% ELV is classic Klarman. But Googs, you're seeing some good momentum. Ray Dalio adding $1 billion, or now he has $1 billion worth of it, adding a decent amount of shares to that. And Seth Klarman, also Google's number 2 on the super investor filings for the disclosures. Google, UNH, and then Google. So It makes sense. Google invests $9 billion for AI infrastructure and workforce development in Oklahoma. Okay, you got AI coming to Oklahoma, and it makes sense as Google needs to keep investing. Google is putting another $9 billion into Oklahoma over the next 2 years to grow its cloud and AI infrastructure. The plan includes a major data center in Stillwater, an expansion in Pryor, a major funding for AI education and workforce programs. If anyone's in Oklahoma in the chat, let me know. I feel like we have some people, or at least I've seen some people say that they're from Oklahoma before. But let me know if anyone's watching from Oklahoma. I mean, it makes sense, dude. They're going to have to expand these data centers across the entire country. And that should also be creating a lot of jobs for people, which be great to see. Okay, so let me see some of these 13 Fs. Let me see some of the other ones we have out. Again, Cisco and D-Load, not too much of an update on them outside of Cisco. Good earnings, stocks flat. D-Load, great earnings, stocks up about 7%. Cisco right here, down 2.5. D-Load is not up 7%, it's up 17%. So D-Load really getting some momentum off their beat and guidance raise. That's up 17% after hours. Not too bad. Okay, there you go. Yeah, I'll put the link in the chat. There's 2 links. Whale Wisdom is one of them, and Data Roma is another one of them. So I'll put those links in the chat. This is what you guys can use to, like if you guys want to see who's buying Grab, go to Whale Wisdom, type in Grab, and then boom. If you want to see who's buying Hood, who's buying Palantir, like Nvidia, like this website, type in the name of the stock, you filter, and you will see, and it's for free. So you will see everything you need about the stock that you care about in terms of the insider, not the insider, but the institutional buying or selling. ATNF, is that moving after hours? That is down 15% after hours. Looks like they might have done an offering. This was the Peter Thiel stock that was bought yesterday. It makes sense that the Peter Thiel stock is doing an offering because they ran up 250%. Today they were up, they were up 50%. They ended the day only up 5%. So they got sold off during the day. Now they're down 13%. Someone probably knew there was an offering coming. If there is an offering, let me try to confirm. But that one is getting dumped. Yep, exercising warrants. They're exercising about 2.1 million warrants. Not exactly a shelf offering, but they are exercising warrants. That's not as bad as a shelf offering, to be honest. You're seeing a little bit of recovery right there. But that's why that stock is down after hours. Bumble holders offer shares at 633 to 654. Oh boy, is Bumble tanking on that? Bumble is tanking 9%. So you got Bumble that's also doing a bit of a share offering right here. That stock is down 10%. That stock is down 10%. And there you go. The Big Show says, I made some money on D-Lo. Congrats. Awesome stuff. Awesome stuff. Again, those were great earnings. So even if you bought it right at the close on the earnings results, you were able to get some momentum. All right. So let me see if Altimeter's fund is out. That's another one that owns a lot of Hood. I'm very curious to see if they updated. Did they update? They did not update yet. It might happen today. It might happen. It's probably going to happen tomorrow. Unfortunately, I will not be live tomorrow, so we'll cover it on Friday. But the big news we got out of Bridgewater is they're bullish grabby grab, dude. I mean, 4 million shares. I know it's not the most amount of money for them, but the level of adding that they've been doing over the past basically 5 months at this point is pretty incredible. And so I would imagine they think there could be a move that is coming on Grab. Lyft again, Ray Dalio. I keep saying Ray Dalio, dude. Like Bridgewater. He's been associated with Bridgewater for so long. They bought 2 million shares of Lyft. 2 million shares of Lyft, which is pretty incredible. Pay your mover to schedule earlier. Dude, I wish. I even asked them, like when I was first buying the furniture, I was like, hey, is there any negotiating on like the time? And she was like, not really. She was like, you just got to be available. I'm like, all right, I just want to get that over with. So unfortunately, I really thought it would be in the afternoon. I didn't think they would do it at 10 a.m. But it looks like they're going to be doing it early in the morning. I'm going back to Ray Dalio and see if there's anything else that I can find here that I don't see, which would be important. Again, we went through it quick, so I'll try to see what else we have here. Sam should be on in a second as well, so we'll get his take on some of the stuff going on in the market. But I'm pulling up that that filing as well. Did you find your movers on Grindr? You know, like this is quite incredible. The level of unhingedness this chat has. Yeah, there's Grab 3.93 million. Yeah, Sam said 1 minute. All right, Sam's will be on in 1 minute. Let's see. Is there anything else we missed on the added GE Veranova? He added 157,000 to that. So there you go. That's green. Why did AMD outperform NVIDIA? I think it's based on that rumor that NVIDIA is going to delay Rubin and it's going to try to be more competitive with MI450. Again, NVIDIA or AMD did not confirm that, but that was the headline. I don't know if that's a real headline, but that one made the rounds today. And that seems to be the reason why AMD outperformed. Fortinet, he added 1.19 million. We didn't see that one. That's a cybersecurity name. Exxon, he added 755,000. Etsy, 35,000. DocuSign, 101,000. eBay, they added 566,000. A lot of energy, financials, and consumer staples. And then Broadcom, 216,000 is what we saw. They also sold all their hood. They also sold all of their hood. All right, there you go. There you go. What was the SoFi buy you were talking about? Let me pull it up right here. Poland Capital Management. I don't know if this person is I just don't know who this person is, but they managed 32 billion. They bought SoFi and they bought 170,000 shares at $18. So large fund, 32 billion. They bought SoFi 170,000 shares. By the way, on Palantir, we also had one more institutional buy. It was for 2,000 shares, was not a lot, but Poland Capital Management, same people. They bought 2,000 shares of Palantir. So again, not massive positions, but there is some institutional interest that we're seeing here. And if institutions across the world are buying a couple thousand shares here and there, that could be adding to the buying pressure. But SoFi was the big one they bought, 170,000 shares. And SoFi has not shown up on any of these lists, much like Palantir. So but Hood is nowhere to be found on these lists at all. And then Palantir right here, 2,000 shares. So you did have this fund buy up some shares in both those companies. All right, folks, let's get a guest onto the show. They haven't been on in a past, I think, month and a half. But they did articulate the Nebius thesis when this stock was at $30. And last time I checked, although I had a little bit of an ugly day because of CoreWeave, this stock is much higher than $30, up more than a double. Ladies and gentlemen, let's give it up for Mr. Sam Solid. Sam, what's up? How are you doing today? I can't hear you. I think you're on mute. You probably are on mute. Is that me or is that him, guys?
Can you hear me?
Say something?
Can you hear me now?
Yes, you're perfect. There you go.
I don't know if your audience has told you, but it's pronounced dollars. It's not dollars. It's 100% pronounced dollars, but that's okay. That's okay though. That's okay.
Dude, hold on. Before we continue, we're gonna do a little game. Okay, we're gonna do a little game.
Are we gonna ask ChatGPT how do you pronounce?
No. I'm just gonna ask you to pronounce something for me. Okay, this was one of the fund managers I had to pronounce today.
Just one of the fund managers you spoke to today. Just one of them.
No, not spoke to. I had to pronounce their name today. Say this name for me, please. Say this name for me.
Oh shoot.
See, like I mean,
you gave me the most French name on there.
I said Francois Rocon, and then we did it in Google Translate, and it was not good. That's way better than what I did.
Francois? I don't know.
No, that's exactly it. Francois. Yeah.
Francois? Yeah. I don't know, man. It's French. French people. I don't know.
All right, Sam, let me give you your flowers. It is hard in this industry to call a name. You called the name 30 to 70. Tell me, why is Nebius up double since you called it?
So first of all, I don't like collecting receipts, but there is one specific comment that I saw in the chat when I was on here that time that said he looks like a scammy salesman. And I'll tell you right now, I am not a scammy salesman because the one stock that I called, which I still think is somewhat undervalued today based on future metrics. Okay. So my original price target for 2027 based on previous metrics was $57. We're clearly over that right now, right? Just seeing them, how they're able to ramp up the ARR. So they came into the end of last year in Q4 saying that they're going to have anywhere from $750 million to $1 billion ARR by next year, right? Ahmed said, Ahmed looks like a scammy salesman. Well, okay, so you know what? Actually, I'm part of the cool scammy salesmen's club. Glad to have you all here. So anyways, almost lost my train of thought there. But anyways, they came in last quarter because the previous quarter, they said that they're going to be in the upper range, right? Then last quarter, they came in and they said $900 million to $1.1 billion ARR for this year. Like that. Like, come on, man. Like, just that's a huge ramp up. You're seeing data center being scattered everywhere, being expanded all across the board. There was a little bit of a scare back when I came in the stream. I think that was like around April, May. Microsoft was cutting data center expansion. Their earnings came out in April. You know, Microsoft basically cut their CapEx. Google was flat. Meta, I think Meta did increase theirs. Amazon increased theirs just slightly. You know, it's just like a little worrisome, you know, about that stage. And like Nebius is the data center stack from top to bottom. This isn't a CoreWeave. CoreWeave borrows GPUs from people or rents GPUs and then rents out the compute for AI workloads to clients, right? They don't own the whole stack. You can't go in CoreWeave and spin up an entire GPU cluster with your CPUs, your EC2 instances, or I guess that'll be the Amazon's case and so on. Like Nebius does that. They're literally a hyperscaler, but for the smaller size customer. But on top of that, they also offer these other services that CoreWeave does offer. Nebius builds a data center top to bottom for almost all their data centers. The older ones, they do a lot of renting, but the newer ones, they are building from scratch. And they can do that because they used to be Yandex. Yandex was the Google of Russia back more than a year ago. They were the Google of Russia. And then they sold all their Russian assets to be able to list it on the NASDAQ to be in compliance. And since then, since the last time they came on here, it's come up because of that massive ramp up, but also they pushed their guide for EBITDA profitable, adjusted EBITDA profitable. You know, that's something I got to point out, right? This is not on a GAAP basis. This is on an adjusted basis. They pushed that up to a closer timeline. So what the market's doing is they're looking at the stock. They're being like, oh, okay, they're supposed to be growing that big. They're supposed to be profitable. I want to get in right now before it makes that move. So the market is front running it, right? So it's extremely volatile up here. You look at a lot of charts and everything. Charts are just going vertical. This is kind of a weird time right now because you have the IPO starting. You have FIG basically open up 3 times more than its opening price. Yeah, no, dude, Manuel is awesome. Actually, funny thing, me and him went on Stock Tank and pitched Nebius to Tevis, to Roy, and also to Tanner, right? And
they laughed at you?
Tevis laughed he was laughing most of that wasn't laughing, but he was being very critical, you know, which is good because if Tevis is being critical about something, then that means he's actually, you know, finding it kind of interesting, right? But it was just funny how it was like
to disagree with a thesis. If everyone agrees, there's no alpha.
Yeah.
And that's why this business is hard. Because you've got to be against the grain to find a winner, 100%.
Yeah. I mean, you know, to be honest, Manuel is a lot younger than me. So his risk profile is a lot higher than mine. So he went a lot harder on Nebius than I did. In fact, that was his largest position before this entire run-up. And, you know, like Manuel's research in this company was just amazing. Like for me, I have a lot of companies in my portfolio, so I'm kind of stringing myself thin a little bit even to this day. But I try to do as much as I can. But for me, you know, my position was like 2 to 3% when I bought in, and now it's like over 10%. And my portfolio's beta went from like a 1.5 or 2. Now it's like a 3 in just a matter of a few months. So it gets a little scary for me at this end because, again, my risk profile is not like to the max. Like I'm not going to go like 15% a small cap or anything, but you take a smaller basket of these companies, which includes Nebius, and that they double or triple, like Lemonade as well. My average on Lemonade is like $25-26, and the thing is almost $60 now. You take like these 1 or 2% cost basis of the portfolio, and it just starts expanding and starts becoming a big part of portfolio. But your cost on it was so small that yes, your portfolio can be a little bit volatile here and there, but you're working off of like house money at that point.
Right.
So it gives you that, like, it basically gives you that edge and that stomach to be able to stand through the volatility because you're sitting on so many gains that even if it pulls back. Yeah, go ahead.
CoreWeave down today 20%. Should investors at all be concerned about Nebius? Is this a little bit of a overhyped momentum trade? Or what most
of CoreWeave has a customer concentration problem, right? And I don't think it's not kind of a problem, but it is a risk. So Microsoft and OpenAI are their biggest customers. So a lot of their demand is being pulled from them, right? So, of course, they're going to catch the tailwind. And honestly, I think they're down a lot, not because of the guide for next year, which wasn't that bad. It was mostly because they reduced the CapEx dramatically. That was coming from increasing the CapEx dramatically when they had the last quarter. And this is the second quarter they reported. You already know IPOs, man. When companies IPO, they have a hype run up and then they pull back to reality, to planet Earth. And then that's when you actually buy the companies, when they start to have their pullback, not in the midst of their craze and hype.
Right.
The same thing happened with Rubrik. I was probably one of the only people on X talking about Rubrik when it was in the 30s. It IPO'd, went all the way to the high 40s, and then pulled back to the 30s, went below $30 for just a minute back in August, a year ago, when the yen carry trade thing happened. And the thing is like at 80 something dollars now. Now, not everything that I'm going to start claiming is going to do crazy moves like that, but I've had a lot of wins that I'm just sitting on gains at this point where I can stomach the volatility. But the only reason why I'm saying this here is because, one, you have a wide audience, but I want to push people into reality here. Like, look, if you want to buy Nebius now, go ahead. I think the stock will be higher in 2 or 3 years, but you better be ready if this thing pulls back to $50.
It is not.
Okay,
it is not the asymmetric return that it was at 30.
It's not the asymmetric return. I think you have a long-term mindset. If you are playing with money that you don't necessarily need for at least like the next 10, 15 years, you can ride the storm and just continue dollar cost averaging into Nebius, right? Like, if I didn't have a position Nebius, and I will stand by myself when I say this, and if it's down 20, 30%, because I'm cool with it, but I would take my max position size. Like, let's say I wanted a max position size of 3% in Nebius. Well, you don't have to go all in right now.
Yeah.
You can buy, like, you could divide that by 10, and every single week you buy 10% of that 3%, 10%, 10%, 10%, 10%, or maybe bi-weekly or monthly, whatever you want to do. There's no rush at this point if you just want to be part of the secular trend. But if you go all in with the 3% now, then don't set your stop loss, or be ready if it pulls back to $50 and then you're 20% down. You have to be ready for these things when you're investing at all-time highs, when sentiment is at all-time highs in the market, when pretty much we're getting a rate cut for sure by 95% chance in September. You have to be ready for these pullbacks, and it's going to be skewed. I don't think it's going to happen all at once. It might take a little bit of time, but you're going to have these random days like today where Hood is down 5% and software is taking off. You're going to have days like that, and you might feel like crap if a company that you borrowed conviction on is down. You're wondering why it's down, but do your research, take your time on this stuff, right? It took me months to build my Nebius position. I'm lucky it stayed that low, but I gave up the risk that, well, if this thing runs up, then it runs up. That's fine. But I want to be able to sit through this when it has its drawdown. Like, when I bought Nebius originally, it was actually coming down from like $49 and it was continuing to draw down. My first Nebius buys were at $37, right? And it kept pulling back and pulling. I kept on adding and adding and adding. And then I had my big ads when it like bottomed like around $24. And then, of course, it took off from that. I got lucky from that. But at the same time, that was around a time when the sentiment was just so bad in the market. No one believed in data center. NVIDIA was not allowed to sell chips to China. Neither was AMD, and so on. That's the best time to buy, when there's fear in the market. That is when you buy. You don't buy in its size when the market's at all-time highs and Mike Wilson is bullish as hell.
Let me ask you this. And by the way, guys, he said a wide audience, not a white audience. So
no, I did say white audience, actually.
Yeah, you did say white audience. Okay, so real quick on Nebius, and then we'll move on. Are you selling any here? Are you trimming or no?
I gotta be honest. It was such a dumb trade too. I actually trimmed 20%. Sorry, not 20, 15% of my Nebius position when it was around $47. And that was purely out of fear, man. I thought that was the top and whatever. It was like, like when you just have those moments where it's like, you're so detached from the sanity of like how you want your portfolio to be constructed. So like you have like little freak out moment. And like, I was just so vulnerable at that point, whatever was happening in my life, whatever. So I was selling 15%, but then I bought it back slightly higher. So, might have dinged a little bit of a tax event there, but that's not really a big deal. But at the same time, I ended up buying it back slightly higher than that, because I think I sold it around $49 or something. I checked my Savvy Trader, but I ended up buying it back, and I'm just like, whatever, I'm just going to let it ride. In fact, I hope it does pull back so I can add more, and the same with Lemonade too. Like, if Lemonade pulls back, I'm going to buy more. Those are some crazy earnings that they had as well. And the thing has just been running since it had its earnings.
Okay, so let's talk about some individual names. Sam has about 15 minutes. Any tickers in the chat, we'll try to get his thoughts on it real quick before tickers. Macro, you think 6,500 is on the way, or you think S&P needs a 5% pullback?
Yeah, I think we're going well. Oh, well, actually, I don't know where the next 10% is going to be, but I think the next 20% is going to be higher. I think S&P is going to 7,500
This year?
this year.
You hold on, 7,500 this year?
7,500, I think it's going to this year.
I have not had anyone on the channel say
Yeah,
Steve said 7,000. That's the most that he said.
7,000, 7,500, tomato. Steve's bullish. That's all you got to know.
Oh my. Okay, quick
No, I
thesis.
think
Why
7,500.
why 75?
Because we went from expecting no rate cuts to like less than 2 rate cuts on the last SEP from June. The SEPs is a summary of economic projections, which is basically where the Fed
Wow,
sees their
Sam,
future.
not to interrupt you real quick, but what you're talking about now, there's a 6% chance for 50 bips in September.
There you go. There you go.
We are
There you
past
go.
the 25
Yeah.
bips. Now it's the market has undeniably said it's either 25 or 50 now.
Hold up. Let me see these Robinhood prediction markets. Oh, second of all, D-Lo is up 15%. Congratulations, shareholders. Hopefully this was the quarter. So
Market's basically guaranteeing 25 now, folks. It's a debate between 25 and 50.
There's like 0% chance of no rate cuts. Number of rate cuts in 2025. Exactly. So I was actually eyeing this bet on Robinhood, the number of rate cuts in 2025, and I was eyeing the exactly 3 rate cuts. It's paying 1 to 4. It's paying 1 to 4 right, or 4 to 1 right now. I was thinking about 3 to 1. It's paying 3 to 1. I don't know, man. It's a 25% chance. So I was thinking about doing that bet mostly because there's a lot of people out there who, when I say people, I mean Wall Street analysts on there and banks, saying that there's going to be 3 rate cuts this year, but it feels like it's a little bit skewed. I think we get 2 rate cuts in September. I think it's possible we get 1 rate cut in November, and I think we get a pause in December. And the reason why I think that's the case is because there's a pretty good possibility that inflation is going to continue going down, or it's going to continue surprising from the downside. But I think earnings yields are not. I think we're above average in earnings yields. Earnings yields for S&P 500 average around 7 to 8%. This quarter, they're at like 11.9% or 12%.
Right.
It was basically 7.9% above what Wall Street estimated it to be. They estimated to be 3.9% in the April lows, which was ridiculously low coming into earnings. So I think that those expectations are baked in right now. You also, if you keep an eye on the way that stocks reacted after earnings, they all had their pop. A lot of them had their pop and then have just faded all those gains over the next few days. You saw when Microsoft, Duolingo is a little bit of a different story, but you kind of saw it. You saw it a little bit with App Lovin. You see a lot of companies, Axon, especially Axon, pretty much gave away all of their after earnings pop, and now they're actually, I think they're about flat from earnings. You're seeing a lot of companies out there starting to project good numbers, but then the market's like, this is cool, but you know what? I think we kind of want more now.
Right.
And then you're seeing the thematic or the theme that AI is going to cannibalize software. So you're seeing a lot of software companies basically either near their 52-week lows or pulling back way far from their recent highs. You have that with CRM, for example. Some people pointed out Salesforce there's a going theme around that Salesforce can be cannibalized by AI. Like, why would you buy a Salesforce in your company when you can just like feed everything into an LLM and just ask it questions, right? Or ask it to give you charts and stuff. Wow, Bitcoin's at 123K. That's crazy.
There you go. 123, folks. We are $200 away from all-time highs on Bitcoin. All right, Sam, I know you got 10 minutes. Let me get your quick thoughts on a bunch of different tickers. Let's start off with just Ethereum in general. Thoughts on that?
Dude, that thing is going to go to like 5,000. It's crazy.
Okay, so better question. Thoughts on BMNR?
Man, that's going to double from here. You know why it's going to double from here? Because I sold at a loss. Oh. Yes, I sold BMNR at a loss. I put on a stupid trade, not even a big trade, just like a couple hundred shares. And I sold it when it pulled from 43 to 41. And I'm like, screw this. Then I felt like a genius when they went down to 29. And then now I just feel like an idiot.
Okay. Adobe, thoughts on that one?
I think they're gonna be fine. I can't really say for the stock price though, but they're gonna do an acquisition. They acquire a lot of companies, so I think they're probably gonna acquire some company to kind of push them ahead. But it's a very sticky product. But when you think about the companies that buy Adobe, they're usually enterprises, and that's why they're able to scale out their licenses. But I don't know. Big is a really good product. I use Canva all the time. What if that actually does make an impact? We'll see.
I agree. Duolingo, thoughts on that one?
Man, I'm getting pretty bullish Duolingo. I haven't made my first buys yet, but I'm getting pretty bullish. That was a crazy bounce today. It went all the way down to 308.
Yeah.
Closed at the highs of the day. That is the move you want to see when you buy a company.
Palantir.
Well, I
Andrew,
mean,
Andrew left is now shorting.
Yeah, no, I saw that. I actually posted about that one too. And Citron is a big short company, right? They went short a lot of companies. They went short MicroStrategy or Strategy and so on. I don't know. Calling a short in Palantir is just so risky because if your argument is that it's overvalued, well, brother, it was overvalued half this price. So what if you shorted back then? You would have gotten smoked. So I don't know. Pretty bold call in my opinion.
Salesforce, is it a buy here?
No, I'm not touching Salesforce.
I think a lot of the SaaS names are struggling with the narrative.
I would rather buy Monday.com than Salesforce. Monday.com is more, it's like a small Salesforce basically, but they are already, they're already profiting off of the AI model. Profitable company, growing at a decent clip. The only thing was their guide was not that great. And also I think their net retention rate's kind of going down a little bit. So that might be the concern, but I think the company's gonna be just fine.
Okay, SoFi, 44% growth. Do you like it here?
Long term, yeah. I don't see why not.
Do you own it or no?
No, I don't own it. But I did write up something on Twitter where this was like around a month ago when there was a heated argument between like some with over 200K followers and like another person on Twitter. It's DDI. I don't know, some guy. Anyways,
we actually made up. We talked the other day, so we're good.
That's good. I'm glad. I mean, obviously in the heat of the moment, you're a hood bull and he's a SoFi bull. But anyways, I kind of just took both those companies and I was like, dude, both these companies can be bullish. Like, I don't understand. Like they can both do great long term. It doesn't have to be like a hood versus SoFi. It could just be like hood and SoFi, right? I know a lot of people own both and doing just fine. And look, it already doubled since I made that post.
I agree. Grabby grab. Bridgewater just bought 4 million shares. What do you think about that?
The 13F?
Yeah, they just came out before you came on. Yep.
Ooh, that's good news. Also, that guy.
Okay, so I'm telling you for the first time, Bridgewater, now they have 10 million shares. We'll see what Howard Marks does probably tomorrow. Do you like it here or?
Yeah. But I got to be honest. I had to shift around my portfolio a little bit. So I took a little bit of profit on some leaps that I had. Because if I really want to see some upside on that, you need to see it soon. Because my options were January 2027. I still have my shares, but I did close out part of my leaps on there.
You bought the leaps when it was like 350 too. So you made
I bought it pretty low, but like I had to trim a little bit, mostly because like I wanted to get into some other names too. So I don't have unlimited funds. Like I don't know. I don't have limited funds. Oh, someone said Unity. I am bullish Unity. I think they're going to turn around their advertising. I think the market's kind of sniffing that at this point, but when they were like around low 20s, was just when I got in. I think that they were mispriced because the market didn't understand that they could actually profit a lot off their advertising revenue. And they actually starting to utilize that, which is really cool. And that's probably the reason why you basically saw it almost double. I think it's 50% up.
Okay. UNH, are you buying?
No, I'm not buying, but I mean, I know there's more than a few large hedge fund managers that are buying. I don't know them personally. The 13Fs tell me the story, but also I think people are pretty vocal about this. Chris is very bullish on it. And he doesn't, Chris don't miss most of the time. So, I don't think he's going to miss this one. I think it's going to do really well. And I think it's very mispriced.
Okay. Googs, have you added more to this or trimmed at all?
No, dude, I sold Google in like the 157 for Meta.
Not a bad trade.
Yeah.
Not a bad trade. So Meta, I'm assuming you love that quarter that we just got.
Amazing quarter. Still floating around their all-time high. I thought it was going to break 300 today. I really did. And it didn't. So I didn't really care, but I think Zuckerberg is I think this stock is going higher. I think it's part of the. It's almost part of the $2 trillion club. We'll see.
Okay, Amazon. I know this is like one of your highest Max 7 convictions.
Oh
Is that
man, still
the case?
bullish. Still bullish. Still bullish.
Okay. We got about 5 minutes.
Amazon is the robotics company. Okay, that is the robotics play for me.
I agree.
That you can't buy figure in the open market. Okay,
true.
Tesla is a robotics company somewhat, but they're more of an AI company than anything. Amazon is the play for me, in my opinion, and the most applicable as well. Like, no one is going to buy an Apple robot to sit on their countertop and start doing crazy things for them. Amazon or Jassy will be using those robots to increase those margins in the warehouses. He will. He already is.
He already is. You're not wrong. Reddit, do you still own this one?
No.
Okay, so you sold this one.
I stupidly sold too soon. It was more than a trade than anything, but I was up like 57% on it. So why not? And I had some calls on it. So, got to take the profits at some point. Obviously, shoulda, woulda, coulda.
AMD or NVIDIA, which one would you buy if you had to right now?
NVIDIA.
You don't own NVIDIA though.
No, I don't own NVIDIA.
Okay.
Yeah. Nebius is my semiconductor play along with Astera Labs.
Okay, guys, I'm putting Sam's Twitter right here in the chat. We got about 4 minutes. I'm going to get his thoughts on a couple other tickers, but if you are
look up A-Lab, dude. Look up A-Lab. ALAB.
Yes, that one I think you've been excited about as well. Real quick, if you are not following Sam, definitely make sure to follow him out here. And you can follow his updates on Twitter. Are you in A-Lab? Have you been in this one?
I've been in A-Lab. My average is, I think, high 70s. Buying it hand over fist when it went to the 60s. Man, I think I was pounding the table on that one in the 80s too. And I thought it was over around the 90s and like, boom, goes up.
So your way to play AI is not through the big guys. You're finding these smaller companies.
I don't need to. I'll make much more money looking at the components, the suppliers, as well as the manufacturers. So that includes ASML, that includes AVGO, Broadcom, that includes A-Lab, Arista Network. It includes Marvell Technology and all of those names. They are going to have much more upside than the gigantic monsters out there. But I also do a lot of research on it too. So, picks and shovels. Yes, picks and shovels. Or the shovels. Only the shovel. I don't know, whatever.
Okay. I don't think I asked you, but Hoodie, are you selling this one at all or adding?
Nope.
How do you think about this one?
Nope. No selling here. No selling here, my friend.
But you're not adding.
I trimmed 16% in 2 8% tranches in the 60s and the 70s. Probably a mistake. Never doing that again.
Okay. Weeble, you like that one?
Oh, is that the one where like everyone got bullish on and then like someone uncovered on Friday that they were involved in some Yorkville thing and then everyone got out of it? Yeah, that one. And then it proceeded to run another 30% from there. Yeah, that one. No, I'm not in it. So I hope it dies. I hope it falls to zero.
Okay. Shopify.
Dude, so bullish Shopify. But here, good question, because I got to jump off right now. Toast, ticker symbol TOST. That is the one I'm eyeing next. Have not bought, need to do more due diligence on it. Guys, don't just go out there and buy it. Please do your research on this stuff first, okay? Like, please, because I didn't buy it. So if it drops 50% from here, don't blame me. Blame Amit, not me.
Okay, last real quick one. Lemonade. Are you in this one?
Yes, I am in that one.
Okay, so you like Lemonade here.
Oh, yeah.
Did you trim Lemonade, dude? Dude, you've just been
no.
trimming
I didn't trim Lemonade. I might have done it in my savvy now that I think about it, but I don't recall trimming Lemonade. But no, I'm bullish. From here, I don't know. Same deal with Nebius, man.
Okay. I love it. Sam, thank you so much for the time.
Bullish Oscar.
Okay.
There you go. All right.
We'll catch you later.
Sir.
Thank you, Sam. Sam's Twitter right there in the chat. See you next time.
Bye.
Later. So the takeaway I got from Sam is that he is really managing the portfolio. And again, he's not as risk prone as some other people. So he's taking profits. And look, it is what it is. That's what active portfolio managers do. A lot of people criticize retail for just buying and diamond handing. He's a retail investor, but he also has a family and he's less risky. So he's taking some profits. And it is what it is. But notice he did say that he's not selling Hood after he did take some profits before. So that's one that he wants to keep. Nebius, he sold a little early, but that is high conviction. So he bought back. And then some of these other names like a Grab, closing out Leaps. I don't hate that. I mean, take some profits on your leaps. That's fair. And then some of these other names that he is interested in, like a Duolingo, which is, getting a bit cheaper, is on his radar as well. And it seems like Lemonade, he continues to hold that. Lemonade, by the way, 9% on the day, 59.70. So Lemonade having a great run since their past earnings as well. Okay, let's take a look at the stock draft because we didn't look at that since the open. Duolingo is wrecking me in this draft. Map Money is up 21. I'm up 16. Tanner's up 7. Steve is up 0.76. Chris is down 0.82. So pretty much the same thing. Hasn't changed too much. Matt, Amit, Tanner, Steve, Chris. But you did have a little bit of a red day across the board on some of these names. So there we go. Mizuho did raise their price target on NVIDIA, and another company raised their price target. Mizuho raised it to 205, but there was another big one at 225. Gonna try to find it, but it was Piper Sandler 225. So you got the banks saying, hey, let's get NVIDIA to go higher. Chris will be on next week. For those that are asking, we'll get Chris on next week. And Sachin also told me he'll be on soon. So hopefully we can get Sachin on next week as well. Again, Sachin is in Malaysia, so it's a little bit difficult with the time, but we will try to get him on the show. He did tweet today, though, Sachin, speaking of people that are taking profits, we were also talking about this earlier today when we were messaging each other. And what he told me is exactly what he tweeted right here. He sold 1/3 of his AMD June 2026 calls. June 2026 calls. So although he is still bullish, holding 2/3 of the position, he is also taking some profits. AMD 52-week highs today. So very nice to see AMD get this momentum after earnings. And maybe it's running on some random headline about NVIDIA and Rubin and MI450. Maybe there's juice to that rumor, but he took advantage of that today and took some profits. So that's what you got from Sachin. All right, 13F, folks. The big one today was Ray Dalio. I don't see any more after hours. Today might not be the day where we get Bill Ackman and Buffett and David Tepper and Stanley Druckenmiller. We might have to wait till tomorrow. But we saw Seth Klarman. There's another person, Sarah. This one just came out. She manages $6 billion. Sarah Ketterer of Causeway Capital Management. So let's see what we got here. They added 3.4% to the Googs. Once again, 3.4% to the Googs. We're seeing Google get some momentum. And there you go. Google, again, one of the second biggest stocks that was added in these 13Fs. They added to Merck 9%. They sold some of their Disney. They sold some of their Oracle, 43%. They bought NetEase.com. I don't know what that is. NetEase.com. Does anyone know what that is? Okay, this is some Chinese shit. I don't know what this is. There you go. That's what I got on NetEase.com. I don't know what that is, but they bought a bunch of that. They bought XP. They bought International Flavors and Fragrances, 622,000 shares. They bought PG&E. They bought Tencent. They bought about 1 million shares of Tencent. That's a lot, 37 million. Or they added 209% to their Tencent position. They sold some Celestica. They sold some of their Vanguard, FTSE developed ETF. They bought Mercado Libre, 4,500 shares of Mercado Libre. So that's a big one that they are adding. They reduced 80% of their Infosys or 90% of their Infosys. They reduced Wipro by 2%. They reduced NVIDIA by 11%. NetEase is a Chinese gaming company. Is it? Okay, we'll see. They reduced a little bit of their Apple and they reduced a little bit of their Novartis. Dude, Novartis, how is that stock done? Because a lot of the pharmaceuticals got hit over the past. Wow, this is one of the pharmaceuticals that's actually doing decent, 24%. Novo and Lilly took a bit of a beating. But this one is green. Okay, so that's what we got. Again, we're waiting for Berkshire and Drux and Ackman Very curious to see what those guys are doing. But Ray Dalio, even though he's not part of it anymore, Bridgewater, that's the big one that we saw today. And we're going to see when the rest of these come out. So there you go. Mitt's moving the stream to 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. Eastern tomorrow. Dude, it's weird not doing the stream. I have not taken a real day off in a while, bro. So it is weird. You think it's weird? No, I did take the clothes off when the internet broke because Cloudflare had some issue. Remember that was like in June, I think. So that was the last time I remember taking a bit of a break. Bitcoin, again, trying to crack all-time highs, almost at 123. It did crack 123. Robinhood's up a little bit after hours, but Bitcoin hitting all-time highs in Ethereum. Even if Robinhood's price is not reacting to that, both of those very bullish for Hoodie. If Bitcoin and Ethereum are getting to all-time highs. So yeah, this will be the first day in a while. What do you think Buffett is buying? I don't know, bro. I mean, again, it's not Buffett anymore because he's stepping down, but they're loading up $5 billion of something, and I have no clue. I have no clue. No clue what they're doing. I would imagine it's some insurance play, but maybe it's not. What if it's Verizon? What if it's Grab? What if it's Tesla? You know, like what if it's Disney? Okay, realistically. Okay, put in the chat, what's a realistic company you think he's buying that's not boring? Obviously, it's not Tesla or Palantir or anything. It's probably not Grab. But like Disney, that would be cool. PayPal, that'd be cool. That's something that retail knows. But then if he buys like Chubb Insurance, some of you guys knew it. I had no idea what Chubb Insurance was. Like, what is this, bro? And for 9 months, we were wondering what he was buying, and it ended up being an insurance company. Dude, everyone's saying UNH, which makes me think it's not UNH. Everyone's saying UNH, and that makes me think it's not going to be UNH. I can't argue if it's UNH. It's not Meta. It's not Lulu. He's buying his own stock. I mean, his stock is discounted, but it's probably not that. Bitcoin 123, UPS. I could see UPS actually. Again, that note we got. Let me play you guys that video from CNBC today on the Goldman Sachs report. A lot of people didn't believe that it was a real report, and I can understand why people didn't believe, because even I was just like, what? Goldman Sachs is saying to buy calls on Palantir, AMD, UPS, and EA Sports. But it's a real thing. It's that is what they said today. So I'll play this right here, and then I'll keep an eye on any 13Fs that are coming out. They already own a ton of T-Mobile. I don't think it would be T-Mobile. They already own a ton of Oxy. I think it would have to be a new one. Oh, it literally has to be a new name that they don't own, right? Because they haven't disclosed it yet.
How to play some of these retail heavy or meme-like names at times. Christina Partsinevelos looking at that for us today. What'd you find?
That the animal spirits are back, Scott. We're seeing retail investors, they're spreading beyond just the meme stocks into broader large caps. So prompting Goldman Sachs, like you mentioned, to warn there's a lot of upside in stocks with high retail participation. And their data shows massive retail inflows just over the last month in Palantir, AMD, KeyCorp, Electronic Arts, UPS, Warner Brothers, among others. The firm is actually recommending clients buy call options on these names you're seeing on your screen, betting these stocks will rise by purchasing the right to buy them at today's price. The risk appetite, though, really extends to short squeezes, too. Fresh CNBC data from our team shows short interest across the Russell 1000 jumped to 4.6% in July from 3.8% just at year end. Take Kohl's, for example. It's up 6% today, and roughly a third of its shares remain sold short despite just this continuous rally. The department store chain is actually part of what traders call the dork trade, Scott. So Krispy Kreme's parent, Open Door, Rocket Companies that Josh just talked about, and Kohl's all drawing heavy retail interest. But for now, Goldman's message is clear. If you're betting on market momentum, follow the retail money.
That's right. Christina, thank you for that. That's Christina.
I can't believe Goldman Sachs told their clients today at basically all-time highs / 52-week highs, go buy calls on AMD and Palantir. Like, I don't get it, dude. But I also don't agree with Andrew Short shorting Palantir at these levels. So it's weird. It's just weird that Goldman would actually say that to their clients. And what client is reading that? Like, yeah, I'm going to go buy $200 leaps on Palantir or $200 3-month calls, which, by the way, it could very well get there. But the risk you're taking is just like, as a portfolio manager, unless you think this retail trade is just going to keep going for the next couple months, which again, it could, it seems elevated. And so I don't know. That was weird. That was weird. It kind of, yeah, it feels like a top signal, dude. I'm sorry. It really does. Goldman saying buy calls on pound. Dude, the time to do that was literally any time but now. Now, again, it might be a good time theoretically in the future, but any time during this year, especially during April, May, June, even in July, those calls would have worked out very well. So saying it now just feels a bit weird. Feels a bit weird. Now, granted, that doesn't mean Palantir, I think, has to go back to 120 like Andrew Left is saying. Well, Andrew Left is calling for 35.40. He's calling for a 2/3 reduction in the stock. Again, I just don't think that's going to happen. Maybe I'm wrong, but I don't see it from that perspective. Also, by the way, guys, when I was on the phone with Chris yesterday, the bet is off. Okay, so the bet officially canceled. He heard my idea on the stream a couple of days ago to cancel the bet. It's not worth having some toxic bet between friends because of a stock. So no more $25,000 bet, and we're just going to see what happens with Palantir over the next couple of years. But that's what we got. And he'll be on next week to talk more about this. We were talking about top signals at the end of last year, though. I remember when Palantir was at like 60 and even you thought there wasn't much upside left in the short term. Yeah, I agree. I mean, look, this is why I wouldn't short it. Because when Palantir was at 60 and it was trading at a $120 billion market cap and they were doing $3 billion revenue, they were trading 40 times sales. I was like, all right, this is getting aggressive. And even I was humbled by it. Arnie was humbled by it, right? Matt was humbled by it. Amir was, all of us on the weekly. We're just like, all right, this is like, we're very happy for the gains and we feel very grateful to Palantir, but we're not going to try to be greedy and expect more. And then the stock does a double from there, or a triple, I should say. So from that perspective, I think everyone who's been bullish Palantir has not been bullish enough Palantir, which has been the lesson. Now, maybe that's when you get bearish, maybe. But also, you got to, at that point, say, do you want to bet against a company that's been able to put it? And again, this is what I've been saying for the past couple of weeks now. Palantir got the 20x without putting up the growth, which is the difference between them and NVIDIA. NVIDIA didn't get the 20x until they put up the growth. Palantir, for whatever reason you want to call it, got the 20x before the growth. Now there's the growth. So the question is, do you sell into massive growth? And I don't know if that's the easiest decision for a lot of people, which is why I think the stock is holding its multiple. And that's why I wouldn't short it either. So it's hard. It's hard to short this thing at these levels. But that's what we got. Yeah, guys, the reason we canceled the bet is because it's stupid, dude. It's like I said it as a joke. He took it seriously. Then I said, all right, let's do it. But it doesn't make sense, dude. Like, you don't want a 25, you don't want a money bet between friends for the next 5 years. And then if Palantir happens to keep going up and all of you guys say, oh, Chris is losing 25, like it's toxic. There's no need to do that. So I value my friendship a lot more than 25K on a bet. And so, yeah. And again, I said in the morning, Chris called me last night. He said the post he made last week was just not his best moment. And he'll talk about it next week. But all is good, dude. You have your crappy moments. It is what it is. Everyone has their bad moments. I've had mine. When you're a content creator, it happens to be in public. You got to deal with it, move on, and then you go from there. So, all right. Palantir right here, up a little bit after hours. And Hoodie, again, these metrics are so juicy, bro. This is why I'm confident in my 120 price prediction by end of year, which again, I think theoretically, if we get S&P inclusion, could be low. These are insane numbers, dude. They're getting $6 billion a month coming into this platform. That means people have to literally go into the app and freaking transfer money from, like, when they set up banking and all of this is automated. Oh my, this is going to be fun. This is going to be fun. This is going to be very, very, very fun. And the other thing I was going to say about Robinhood is, what was I going to say? I forgot what I was going to say, but it's 6.4. It had something to do with deposits. Oh yeah. What I was going to say is Robinhood tweeted that they gave out the 5 Bitcoin. So if anyone won it, let me know. I did not win it. They said, you got a notification if you won the 5 Bitcoin. Remember they gave out 5 Bitcoin for like their July giveaway thing. So 5 real Bitcoin. I did not win it because I've not got a notification, but if you did, let me know. You know how I said I would sell the Bitcoin if I got it? I don't know if I would do that. No, I don't know, bro. I think I might hold on. We got some crypto momentum here, bro. I think I might just keep that Bitcoin if I did get it, but I'm not getting it. So there you go. Do you hold SoFi? I have SoFi options, not not the stock. Although Tanner's trying to get me to buy the stock. We were talking yesterday. He's like, dude, I'm going to get you to buy this stock. It's like, I'm going to get you. He put out another video today about SoFi. He is getting I know Tanner's been bullish SoFi, but now he's like actually buying here, you know? Remember when I asked him 2 weeks ago, are you buying? And he was like, no, now he's buying. That's also exciting. By the way, Vlad came out with a new interview. Dude, this guy is everywhere. He was on Cheeky Pints, which is the Stripe podcast. And I haven't finished the whole thing. I watched like 10 minutes of it. We can maybe watch a couple chapters if you guys want to watch. But I think there's some topics he hasn't talked about before. Like Vlad makes his pitch to tokenized Stripe. That would be fun to watch. So we could watch that for a little bit. But we don't have to watch the whole thing because we've seen him say a lot of this stuff. Ethereum, are we $50 away? No, we're $70 away. All-time high is 48. 48.23. Let me make sure. Ethereum all-time high. It is 48.78. So we're about $100 away. 48.78. 48.78 to get there. All right, almost there. Almost there. We're going to see. We are going to see. I've been buying more SoFi too. That earnings was so impressive and the earnings pullback just made it better. Yeah, I think the dilution is not that big of a deal, especially if they acquire a good company with it. And also, again, Noto doesn't get paid until this thing holds over 25. So if the fear is that the dilution is going to stop them from being 25, obviously the CEO thinks that 25 is very likely by June of next year. Now, if he gets to 35, then he makes some real money. And they likely think they're going to accelerate growth. So I don't hate it right here. Do not hate it right here. What do you guys think of the short on Palantir? What do you guys think of that? What is the general vibe? Let me put in the chat. What are we thinking? By the way, 62% of you said Cisco would outperform. It ended up being Delo. Amid, has your dentist texted you? No, my dentist has not texted me. Is Andrew short going to be right? Or Andrew left going to be right? What do we think? I know some of you probably agree with this short. I think a lot of you also agree that the valuation is up there, but you necessarily wouldn't short it, which I think is fair. I just don't think shorting it here makes a ton of sense into the growth that Palantir is putting up. Now, if we have a macro downturn, yeah, Palantir can get hit, but that's the entire market. Let me see if any more 13Fs came out. I don't see any across my feed. Last time we had with Seth Klarman and Ray Dalio or Bridgewater. Brad Gerstner, that's a big one I want to see if they added Hood or if they took some profits. You did have Bridgewater sell their Hood as well. Yeah, I think we're going to get more of them tomorrow. Berkshire, Druckenmiller, none of them are out right now. Yes, no market open, no close tomorrow. Unfortunately, I understand how you guys feel because like when you have a routine and like you watch a certain type of piece of content and then that routine gets disrupted because that content isn't there anymore. I get it. Like it's annoying. I experienced that as well. I just legit have nothing to. I have no chips to bargain with when it comes to this one. So it'll be one day. We'll be back on Friday. There's not a lot of earnings tomorrow either. There's just Nubank, which look, Nubank's covered call premiums are actually, I was looking at them the other day, pretty damn good. Applied Materials tomorrow as well. Okay, so Nubank and also that at ETH Treasury, BTBT, that's tomorrow. Nano Nuclear's tomorrow. And then Deere and JD are tomorrow. So you have those are the earnings that we have. The market is not closed tomorrow. I have the movers coming to my apartment. Not the movers. The what do you call those people? The sofa, like the people that. Yeah, I mean they're not taking my stuff from my current place to my new place, but they're delivering furniture. So I guess you can say the furniture movers are coming tomorrow, and unfortunately they're coming from 10 to 1. So that's what we got to be there. Stream the furniture move. That would be funny, but I think they're going to need me to help them navigate. 47.7 on Ethereum. You called them grinder dates. Goodness gracious, you guys are unhinged. Yes, delivery men. There you go, delivery men. You guys know my brain works, bro. You guys know my brain works. I just like today I said I dot my T's and I cross my I's, bro. Like, that is what I said this morning. So if I can't come up with the name for the furniture moving people, then you know that that's how my brain works, bro. I dot my T's and I cross my I's. It is a bit aggressive. Ethereum trying. Okay, let's watch that Vlad clip then. Let's see him try to convince the Stripe guy to tokenize the shares. And all right, so let's all imagine we're the Stripe CEO. Okay, let's all imagine we're the Stripe CEO, $90 billion company. Think from the perspective of the Stripe CEO. See if you're convinced if Vlad is convincing you to tokenize your private stock.
Quite well for those.
Yes.
What about let's talk about Stripe. Have you thought about whether there would be some mechanism where we could either tokenize your stocks or make it available to retail? I can present a couple of options to you. A menu of options. I have a menu of options. One is obviously we can tokenize it directly. The other is you can put it in a diversified fund, a little bit less exciting.
Kind of less price action, essentially.
Yeah, but price action would be sort of like obscured because there would be 5 companies, let's say.
Yes. I think
you seem excited.
Exactly. You can tell I'm incredibly excited. There's multiple things. One, again, we do not sell equity to the general public today. And I think our view, just as a practical legal matter, is that the SEC takes a dim view of that. And so that's one set of obstacles. But then the deeper one is just that Stripe's not a capital consumptive business. We're not out there raising many billions of dollars to build out presumably more data centers.
That million GPU data center, right?
Exactly. And so there are these highly capital intensive.
Okay, I got to pause it real quick because I do have Hood insider sales. It looks like we got one today. How bad is it? Oh, that's why the stock fell today. You had a co-founder sell almost 1 million shares. So that's what, $115 million that left the stock today? Or 110 million, whatever price he got it at. I don't see the price. Yeah, there you go. That's I don't see the price it says right here, but it looks like, if I'm not wrong, this is probably the reason the stock took a hit today. There you go. The good thing is it's over. So you have an insider sell, it's done, the market digests it, you can move on. But if you're going to sell 950,000 shares, yeah, the stock's going to take a hit. Stock's going to take it. So it is what it is. Again, I would not be angry at the insider, Beiju, who I got to meet in California in February. This guy absolutely worked his ass off when Robinhood was worth nothing to turn it into a company. He deserves the profits. Everyone here, if you've invested in Robinhood at any point during this year, has likely done well. This is the beauty of capitalism. You get to invest at an early, or you get to be the founder of something at an early stage. And then when it actually takes off in the public markets, there's liquidity for you to benefit from. So that sale was 2 days ago. Was it? No, it's being disclosed today. Hold on. No, it says today. It says August 13th. Oh, wait a second. It says August 11th. Okay, now hold on. See, this is the part I need to understand about these filings. Just because the transaction date was August 11th, does that mean the filing came in August 11th, but the execution came in August 13th? Or does that mean it actually was sold on August 11th? Robinhood, August 11th was what, Monday? Dude, we were up big on Monday. We hit like 117 on Monday. And we ended the day at 113, I guess. So, I mean, maybe that 117 to 113 was his sell. Sold on 8/11. Okay, so then that's not today, folks. Then I'm wrong. That's not today. Those 950,000 shares were disposed on Monday. And I mean, the stock didn't really feel it on Monday. Today is when we felt that. Maybe today's more algos. I mean, IBKR and Webull down as well. Maybe today's more algos. It's reported today, but the sell was 8/11. Yeah, I think you guys are right. Yeah, you're right. I don't think it was today. Maybe we get a filing later of someone else that sold out today. Today's might not come out till next Monday. That's fair. That's also fair. That's a fair point. So we'll see. By the way, Beju just did a couple interviews on YouTube as well, so we can watch a couple of his clips talking about Robinhood. But yeah, again, I mean, look, when you build something from nothing, you deserve to take some profit. So not the worst thing in the world for him to benefit off that. All right, let's get back to Vlad in this Stripe conversation.
Of endeavors that as a result, it probably does make sense to go out and raise from kind of the deepest pools of capital. Stripe is not that. It is a pretty capital light business. And so the current set of owners, if you leave aside kind of early investors, are employees. And we kind of like that model. You know, we like the idea that it's owned by the set of people who are building it and creating the value. And then we've solved the employee liquidity question through tenders. And so I think it would be a solution looking for a problem, kind of.
But what the problem is, normal people can't get access to it, right? So what if the tenders, instead of being purchased by institutional venture capitalists, could be a little bit more democratized?
I'm never that sympathetic to that argument. The main reason is just, if you look at the underlying...
So the debate right now in this exchange, Vlad saying, hey, you have a great company, retail can't access it. And the CEO of Stripe is saying, I kind of don't care. And he's about to explain why. But essentially he's saying, I don't think it matters that retail can't access our company in the private markets.
In ownership, it's normal people through a different lens. And so who are the LPs in a company like Stripe? It's generally college endowments, it's CalPERS, it's...
That's an interesting argument. He's basically saying, if you have LPs that raise money from the Minnesota Teachers Pension Fund, and they end up making a private investment in Stripe, when Stripe goes public, those returns are distributed back to the LPs, which then give the returns back to the Minnesota Teachers Pension Fund, which helps the Minnesota teachers' pensions. And so technically, retail is getting exposure. That is his argument, which is not a horrible argument. It's not a horrible... Let's see what Vlad says against that argument.
You know, it's pretty broad ownership underneath. And so it's not, when you're saying being owned in a diversified vehicle, that's essentially what Stripe is today, where the underlying owners that are not people who kind of work at the company or have worked at the company, it's generally funds, and those funds are generally people's money managed in some way. I mean, we also have a few kind of mutual fund owners or something like that. And so it actually strikes me as a pretty sensible ownership structure. The other thing that we're kind of getting into...
Even Vlad, you saw his face movement. Even Vlad was like, okay, I get it. I don't know if that's really the point. That I think he's kind of missing the point, because at the end of the day, the LPs are still the ones that get the massive returns from investing early. And, you know, if I was Vlad, I would fight back and say, well, you know, that's not exactly the argument we're making around retail, but that is the Stripe CEO's rebuttal.
So it actually strikes me as a pretty sensible ownership structure. The other thing that we're kind of getting into in these discussions, and kind of when you announced the OpenAI tokenization, it kind of struck me as a prediction market on the future of a specific company. And I'm curious, you're getting now more into prediction markets. I'm curious what the world looks like where prediction markets become much more relevant, because that's one of the biggest changes of the last 5 years.
Yeah, I think prediction markets are awesome. It is fundamentally a little bit different than this. I mean, we'll get into the prediction markets thing, but yeah, one of the criticisms that maybe the tokenized stocks or the stock tokens offering has had is, well, these are just counterparty swaps with Robinhood, but it's not exactly that, because they are backed by the underlying asset. So in a sense, if you think about stablecoin.
Okay, so Vlad's going to get into explaining the tokenized, but he's not going to argue back against the point. I mean, look, my argument would be, yes, you have people that invest in VC funds that end up investing in Stripe, that end up redistributing those profits. But actual investors that are not part of whatever those LPs report to in terms of who they raise money from, like people like me and people like you guys in the chat, we don't get exposure to it. So the pushback from the Stripe CEO, without sounding like a complete dick about not caring about retail investors, is basically saying, well, there's people that if they work as a teacher in Minnesota, they do have exposure to it. I don't think that's exactly proportional to what Vlad is saying. Vlad is talking about, you know, people like us getting to invest in OpenAI at 80 billion, so that when it runs up to 500 billion in the private markets, you can get exposure versus having to wait till it does a $2 trillion IPO or whatever. But I can understand why Vlad's not fighting back. Obviously, it's like not his podcast, so he's probably not going to try to get into a debate about it. But yeah, it seems like that is the argument from the Stripe CEO. Okay, we got a couple of option flows. Right at the close, someone bought 12 million worth of Microsoft puts expiring next month. The strike is 525. Someone sold 2.2 million worth of AMD puts, so that's bullish. Strike is 185 at the money. And then someone bought 3 million worth of in the money NVIDIA puts expiring in 2 weeks. So that's right after earnings, August 29th. Strike is 190. So you do have some bearishness on the option flows. And then you have some bullishness as well from AMD. So there you go. He's from Ireland. The Carlson brothers that own Stripe, they are from Ireland. Do we have any more 13Fs? Do we have anything? Oh, okay, hold on. We got Howard Marks. Oh my gosh. All right. My heart's beating here. This is the big one. This is the big one. Here we go. Here we go. You guys ready? I just saw the name. I have not looked at it. Here we go. You guys ready? Woo! Here we go. We got Bridgewater that added 4 million shares of Grabby Grab. Let's see. Let's see. I'm going to share it. Look, if they dumped it, they dumped it. He's not my thesis. I have my own thesis. If they added, it would make me a little happy that another big investor sees my thesis and has his own thesis. And if they kept it the same, they kept the same. Here we go. Let's rip it off. Howard Marks, Grab. What do we got? They added, baby. They added, baby. They added, baby. There you go. 13% add. They added. They added. It's about, let me do the math, about 1.1 million shares. Not a big ad, not a crazy ad, but they added. They didn't sell. That's the biggest thing. I wanted to know, is this just a little fling? Is this a little one-night stand he's doing with Grabby Grab? He buys at 450, sells at 550, or is he in it? And he's in it. Looks like they bought at 503, so they averaged up. His first buy was 455, 457-ish. He averaged up. There you go, baby. There you go. I wanted my boy, Howard Marks. The reason this one's a big one to me is because he doesn't invest in tech. Look at this portfolio. There's no tech. Grab is a tech company. There's no tech in this thing. Grab, like, why is Grab the only tech company? I think he would have to see some asymmetric opportunity here in Southeast Asia that is attractive, because he does not invest in tech companies. He's not a tech investor. He's a credit investor. So for him to even add this in the first place was, no one expected it, but there you go. All right, let's see what else he did. Any of these other names, they kept their Nokia position. They see like a lot of they bought C Limited. That's good. Southeast Asia. So he looks like he's getting bullish. Southeast Asia as a region. C Limited, another great company from there. They added 83,000 shares. A lot of these names, not really tech names. They bought Hudson Technologies. They bought YPF. They bought JBS. They bought BioXcel Therapeutics. They have a lot of energy in here. Again, there's no other tech that I see. Someone let me know if I'm missing something. They sold 9% of their Expand Energy position. Grab and C Limited are now the only tech companies that Howard Marks owns, and C Limited is a new buy, and Grab is an increase. So no other tech besides the two companies in Southeast Asia, Grab and C Limited. Dude, they added. They freaking added. I don't even care what the stock is doing. I do not care. I just wanted to know, like, again, I'm out here with my thesis publicly. If it goes up, you get the credit. If it goes down, you get the blame. It is what it is. So just having a little bit of validation from some of the investors who are much smarter than me, that they see some value in this name. Grab right there, 514. That to me is encouraging. It's not that they're my thesis. I didn't invest because of Ray Dalio or because of Howard Marks, but it's always nice to see some type of confirmation from the big guys. And it looks like they added to their position. Ethereum right here, 4,700. Ethereum 4,700 as well. There you go. All right. Just because they have more money doesn't make them smarter than you admit. No, that's correct. It's not that they have more money than me. It's that they have a history of outperformance, right? Dalio and Marks are just legendary investors. So it's not even about the money. It's about the fact that they've consistently outperformed and, you know, they've done a legendary job at investing. And that's why it's important, or at least to me, to take their opinion seriously. Folks, we are getting a phone call on the show today. Steve, what's up?
I got a question for you.
I'm live, by the way.
Oh, look at you being live.
Dude, the chat's about to explode. The chat's about to they're about to explode now that you called. What's up? How are you?
Why is the chat about to explode?
Because, dude, you are the reason this chat even shows up. They just wait for this random, spontaneous moment that we're having right now. And so they're happy. Yep, it's exploding
Did you
right now.
see the 13 Fs that came out?
Oh, I saw the 13 Fs that just came out.
Okay.
Which one caught your attention?
Well, you know, there's a little company called Bridgewater.
Okay, we looked at them. Which one? What are you looking at that they added?
I mean, you may be right. I don't know.
Oh, you saw what I saw. You saw what I saw.
You may be right.
Well, let me do you one better. Howard Marks added 1 million shares as well.
Yeah, I saw that also.
When did you see that? No one posted about that. What are you talking about?
I saw that also.
No, I just came out. How could you have seen that?
Because I saw it. Don't worry about it.
Okay. Anyway, so does that mean
he averaged up, right?
So did Ray Dalio. They both averaged up.
Yeah, I saw it.
I got to stop saying Ray Dalio because he left Bridgewater, but still, it's a big fun. Okay, so does this mean you're finally gonna do some due diligence?
No.
Steve, come on, bro. Like that's not what like you can't tease me and be like maybe you're right, and then you're not even willing to.
I mean, you could be right.
I could also be wrong, but it's worth doing some due diligence, right?
You know,
it's
I don't know.
I need you to apply your Steve mind.
4,700. Can you believe this?
Okay, before we talk about Ethereum, okay, I need you to apply the Steven Fiorillo brain that does a ton of research on companies and write. You don't need to write a Seeking Alpha article.
It's in Southeast Asia.
They're growing GDP at 7%. That's more than double the US. We're talking.
I know, but it's just one of those things where I'm not on the emerging markets. I don't know. It's just something about it. It's not for me.
You know, I'm not saying this is going to be Robinhood, but we had the same discussion on Robinhood. You had some reason that I didn't like.
Now you had to say that, didn't you?
But Steve, your reason, I was walking down that street. I'm looking out the window. I remember it was $8, and I said, Steve, what do you think? And you're like, it's a stupid brokerage, yada yada.
It was 7. It was 7.
It was 7, and I could have bought more that day, and I held back because of you were telling me it's not the.
And you know what your exact words to me were?
What?
Just buy 1,000 shares at $7,000. That's exactly what you said.
That is exactly. I remember. That's exactly what I said.
Yeah.
I was like, it's $7,000, Steve.
Yeah.
Listen?
No.
Look, I don't want to force you, but I think it's worth a little bit of due diligence. That's all.
I will look into it.
Okay, Ethereum. Are we about to break all-time highs?
I mean, it is just amazing that I called you like a month and a half ago. It was at 3,200, and just out of the blue, I said we should probably start buying Ethereum, and then now it's up like 30-40%.
You know, you and Chris were on the channel. SBET, the treasury was $9 when Chris on this channel said we should really look into this, and none of us went heavy enough looking into Ethereum.
I did not expect it to get this crazy with Tom Lee and all these other people going after it this hard, and I didn't think the stablecoin stuff would bump it this much.
Dude, Tom Lee yesterday said it's going to 60,000 for all. Talk about someone pumping it.
I mean, I think these guys can come out and say whatever they want to say. I think they can say it's going to 200,000. Nobody would even bat an eye. I think that we are so desensitized to this stuff.
Yeah. I mean, but also there's a thesis. His argument is if 20% of Wall Street starts, using building financial products on top of Ethereum's blockchain, that's, what is that worth? And to him, that's worth 10x more than what it's worth today.
So here's my question to you. As a OG Palantir investor and as a Peter Thiel fan, and as somebody who has read his books,
yes,
okay, are you buying Bullish?
Hell no, I'm not buying Bullish.
I gotta tell you, when it opened up where it opened up at, I was sitting there and I'm like, this fucking thing is gonna keep going. And it didn't, and it started retracing. And now I'm trying to figure out what price I want to pay for it.
Why do you even know what they do, Steve?
Yeah, I know what they do.
What do they do?
They provide institutional liquidity for crypto.
Okay, and how long have they? Where are they headquartered? Is my better question.
I have no clue.
They're headquartered in the Cayman Islands, bro. They're not even a U.S. company.
Okay, and I'm not worried about that.
Oh, but Southeast Asia, that's not a U.S. company. What's going on?
It's Peter Thiel.
Oh, don't give me that. He's using you for liquidity, dude. I love him, but he
is going to use me for liquidity.
Peter Thiel's not stupid. He knows the market's elevated. They tried to IPO in 2021 in a SPAC, and they got hit. They literally couldn't IPO because they didn't have enough liquidity for it.
He doesn't miss.
I mean, okay, look, Peter Thiel doesn't miss, but also he definitely.
I mean, he legitimately doesn't miss. He was like the first investor in freaking Facebook.
No, I get it. Look, Peter Thiel's legendary, but that doesn't mean Bullish is. You're not gonna buy. Why am I even having this? You're not gonna buy it. I know you. You're just like messing around. You're not gonna buy this thing.
No, I'm serious.
I want to see receipts in a couple of days if you're serious about.
I want to see where it ends up going. But yes, I'm serious. I'm interested in Bullish.
Because at $10 billion market cap, you think it's a great deal.
No, I didn't say it. I'm just interested because it's Peter Thiel. And think about it. Peter Thiel, and then Sachs as the crypto czar. You can't tell me that this isn't going to freaking do well.
Dude, why? See, this is the problem. They're in the crypto space. Coinbase has a massive institutional business. Robinhood's building an institutional business. Why would you trust these guys to be the guys that win? Just because they're an IPO?
Because Peter Thiel don't miss.
No, that's not. Okay, if that's your thesis, that's fine.
It's not a good thesis. Never said it was.
Look,
By the way, I put out a new article about Costco today. I freaking really dislike that stock.
Wait, you wrote about Costco today?
I wrote about it last night, and it came out this morning.
Oh my! Let me share this in the chat. Costco.
I'm really so anti-Costco. It's ridiculous.
You're a Costco bear, formerly on Seeking Alpha now?
No, I couldn't go bear only because Costco's become a cult. But it's trading at 49 times, and it's got a 2.97% profit margin. I mean, it's insanity.
I mean, yeah, I definitely think this is I would buy NVIDIA over Costco just based on the multiples alone.
6 out of the 7 Mag 7 stocks traded less than 27 times 2027 earnings, and Costco is trading at 46 times.
Okay, so I want the chat to answer this as well. Why, and given you wrote an article about them, why do you think Costco gets this double premium against the Mag 7?
I think people are blinded by their memberships and the built-in revenue stream from it. But the problem is, if their gross profit margin is 12.97%, if their cost of goods goes up for any reason, from inflation to commodity prices, which includes agricultural, they don't have the margin to protect themselves. And if they can't pass 100% of those costs off onto their customers, their profits are going to get seriously hit. Nor do I think they can expand at a reasonable rate to justify this valuation. They are not a technology company. They're not Amazon. If Amazon did not have AWS, they would not be a technology company.
Okay, so my argument is more about Palantir. I think that just like Palantir, people aren't selling it. I think Costco, if you had it for 10 years, you're not selling it. Right?
Yeah, because people bought it in the freaking 80s.
Yeah, I think people are diamond handing. I mean, your point is valid, but also I think it's just people just don't want to sell and take profits on. If they go to shop there every 2 weeks and then you own it in your retirement account, you're so familiar with the brand. It's almost like, why would you get rid of it?
The dividend yield is 0.5%.
Yeah, dude. Like the multiple, it makes no sense. You're not buying it for the dividend. You're not buying it for share appreciation.
$50 billion company. Like, get the fuck out of
Wait, what's their market cap?
here. 450.
They're up 8% this year. Chat agrees with you. People are saying they have margin expansion opportunities. I mean,
Look at their margin expansion on revenue was, I don't remember exactly what it was, but I think it was like 8 to 12% year over year in Q3. But their gross profit, their operating and their net income margin expansion year over year was all less than 1%. It's not, the margin expansion is peanuts. And it's peanuts because they can't even get to 15% gross margins. Like, come on.
yeah, I think people are buying it or people are holding it because it's Costco,
Yeah.
So
I now have a vendetta against this company. I'm going to put out a pretty long tweet about it tonight. I have a vendetta against them.
By the way, did you know that Howard Marks added Grab because you were listening to the show and you heard it on the show and then you decided to call me?
You know what, man? I opened up YouTube and I saw you were live. So like, you know what? I never click on it. I'm going to click on it because it was the first thing that popped up and I heard you say it. So like, I'm just going to call and troll them.
Because I was wondering where you heard this. Wait, so at what point did you catch me? Did you catch me when I was like banging on the table happy, or did you catch me when I was introduced?
I don't know. I mean, I pulled over and I went through YouTube and you were right there. So like, let me call in a minute. And so I figured I'd call and troll it.
I love it. That was great. Maybe we can get you to do some Steve, it's trading at 40% cash, dude. I think there's something here, man. I really think I'm not calling for 50, 60. I'm calling for $10. That's what I'm calling for.
So one of our friends is a Super Bowl on Viking Therapeutics right now.
Yes.
To the point where I was on the phone with him and he was really like going down the rabbit hole. And I was like, God, his fucking track record's been so good the past 2 months. It's like, I don't even know.
But also, Steve, he's pitching you He's pitching you a biotech. I'm pitching you a company you can understand.
I hate biotech with a passion, but I looked at the option. Look at the option chains on Viking Therapeutics. It's insane.
It's one of the most liquid stocks in the market. It's a big one.
I cannot believe how much liquidity there is in the option chain right now. Like they really think this is going to the moon.
Well, let me read to you the 20 most traded stocks in the options market today. NVIDIA, AMD, Tesla, Apple, iBit, CoreWeave, Rigetti, Hood, Palantir, Ethereum, BlackRock Fund, Amazon, Intel, Paramount, MicroStrategy, American Airlines, United Health, SoFi, Coinbase, Cisco. They had good earnings, by the way, and Baba.
I'm surprised Cisco and Intel are in there.
I think Intel because of the whole Trump meeting with CEO, Cisco because of earnings today. That's
how were Cisco's earnings?
They were good. Stock's down like 2%, but it was good.
Yeah, good. I think they're seriously undervalued.
Well, it's had a good year, so it's not done too bad. But here's my thing about Grab as well. I'll say the same thing. If you buy 1,000 shares, it's $5,000. So there you go. Saying the same thing I said on Hood. It's $5,000 at this point.
Are we buying CoreWeave?
No, we're not buying CoreWeave. What are you on today? Did you have some rotten milk? CoreWeave, Bullish? What are you saying, bro?
I don't know.
You wanted to buy Big Bear AI 2 weeks ago? Like, what's going on?
I'm not convinced that that's a crazy idea anymore.
Did you see their earnings?
I did not.
They projected negative 11% growth.
Oh, that's bullish.
Oh, did you hear about Palantir today?
No.
Oh, so you don't know who the new short is on Palantir?
No, who?
Okay, so let's go. This is Steve's raw reaction. Citron Research is short Palantir.
Does anybody care about Citron anymore?
So I know he blew up during GameStop, but he's still a high profile. He's like, I would say, Hindenburg doesn't short anymore, but he's up there with Hindenburg. He hasn't been right all the time, but do you think his argument was, hey, I just don't like the valuation?
I mean, look, I was in that camp for a long time. I don't think that's a good enough reason to short that.
Okay, that's exactly what I was thinking. He was talking about price to sales, PE, and I'm like, I don't know if that's a good enough reason.
I'm the original valuation hater on Palantir, but I've been saying that's not a good enough reason to short or go heavy in puts, because this thing just has so much forward momentum. Yes, at some point it should theoretically stop, but I'm not convinced that this is going to be a situation where it has to retrace a lot, especially when, based off of their projections, they're going to grow at 50% year over year in Q3. They're going to have a 5 on that number, because the numbers work out to just over 49%. You know they're going to beat the top end by a little bit. They're going to make sure they come in with a 5. I mean, are we saying that it's going to go down on next quarter earnings if they put up a 50% growth?
Well, that's my thing. It's like he's talking about.
I don't know how you short that.
Like, first of all, you got a lot of people now that are going to be upset at Andrew left, and they're going to want to buy it to go against them. Number two,
right? This could go to 500 now just because this guy came out as a short.
Also, the shorts don't have a lot of momentum. It's 2% of the float, so like he doesn't have a lot of friends that are helping him short this. You know, there's a lot more people going long, and then also it's like, what if Palantir puts up 52% growth? I mean, you're shorting into that? I don't know. Like a short has to go down. A short has to go down 40 to 50% to be profitable, like really profitable, right?
This is not a situation you want short.
I don't know if Palantir's getting, I could see Palantir getting a 10, 20%, 40, 50, 60, 70% drawdowns for the short to make real money for his fund after a, 52%, 53% Q3? I don't know.
No, it's not happening.
It's a bit aggressive. Can we reach 60% growth? Look, I don't know if Palantir can get to 60% growth, but based on that quarter, what if they do? They're at 48. Steve thinks they're going to get, Q3 above 50.
I mean, yes, I think, but at the same time, they said it without saying it from the numbers that they produced. I mean, it's simple math. You take their top line, you minus out Q3 2024, and you look at the delta. It's 49%. It's not some secret science. Like, they told you that what they're going to do.
Yeah. Yeah. And again, there's 850 customers, bro. I mean, is the valuation up there? Yes, but shorting it on valuation when that should have worked $70 ago, but it didn't work. I don't know if that's the smartest.
I mean, look, 115 times sales is insane to pay that valuation, but it doesn't mean it has to go down. Maybe it just goes sideways for a while. I don't know.
Viral, thank you for the $7 super chat. Ask Steve if he had money for one stock, would he buy Google or Amazon?
I mean, I will answer that. I just want to say one thing. You and I need to talk about Perplexity after this, but to me, I think Alphabet's a better value if I buy Amazon over it.
You'd buy Amazon over it? Okay.
Yeah, because if AWS comes out really strong next quarter, this thing's going to rip, because they were really disappointed with the AWS growth number in Q2.
Up, Steve, we have some breaking news. We have Renaissance Technologies 13F. It is out. I'm going to say the results live, and you can give me your raw reaction. I'm going to start with added to. What did they add? I'm going to start with what did they add? Oh my goodness, they have over 1,500 additions. So I'm going to try to see what stands out to me. This is a very big fund. First, let's go to Palantir. Okay, it's alphabetical order, so I'm going to have to do some. Let me try to get the big names first. Dude, goodness gracious, this fund, I think it's like a $40 billion fund or something. Let's see Palantir if they added to it. That's PLTR. I don't see any additions to PLTR. Let me check Hood. That's another big one they have. Let's go to H. H Hoodie. I don't see any additions to Hood, and I don't see any additions to Palantir. We'll see if they sold them. Those were, I think, the top two holdings. I don't see any of that.
I want to give you a hot take.
Go ahead.
That Perplexity does not have the money to buy freaking Google Chrome for $30-something billion. And they only put that statement out just to screw over Alphabet because of all the legal stuff going on, because they've been trying to say it has no value outside of the Google ecosystem.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I think most people understood it's more about marketing than getting their name out there.
Really? They're not, like, how are they coming up with $30-something billion to buy Google property?
Yeah, of course not, dude. Like, obviously, it was just like, even there was a joke as soon as the thing came out. So I agree. There was never any real truth to that. Okay, so this is way too fast, or this is way too large to go through. I think some of you guys have some highlights in the comments. So let me pull up the highlights right here. There's a lot of stuff they did. Here you go. Okay, they trimmed Palantir and Hood. So there you go. They sold 2 million shares of Palantir. Okay. They sold 5 million shares of Hood. They added 538,000 shares of Netflix, and they added 6 million shares of NVIDIA.
I like it.
Can't be mad at them. I mean, they've had Palantir and Hood for the past like 3 years. So this was a 31% decrease on Hood. For Palantir, I don't know how much that's a decrease, but they still have a lot of Palantir. Okay. They had 13 million Palantir last filing. Okay, so now they have 11 million Palantir roundabout. So still I mean, they took profits. It's not crazy that they did that. Okay, so that's the big one from Renaissance Technologies. There you go. Yeah, dude, on the Google Perplexity thing. So do you think the judge is going to force them to sell Chrome now that there is a bidder that's out there?
I mean, technically, they just put a value on it. So it's hard for Alphabet to now argue there's no value outside of the Google ecosystem, because, well, how is there no value if they just offered you $36 billion or whatever it is?
But I also think Google can put up an argument inside of the court and say, guys, it's not worth freaking $36 billion. You know, like, it's worth a lot more than that.
Yeah, but if it is, then how does it not have value outside of the Google ecosystem? Like, they just got screwed. That argument works against them.
No, but if Google browser is the gateway to so many searches, they have an argument that if you get rid of our browser, you get rid of our search revenue, right? Like, that's an easy argument.
But they're saying it has no value.
I don't think Google's saying it has no value.
They're saying it has no value outside of their ecosystem.
But I think they're right. I mean, dude, if Perplexity bought it for $30 billion, what the hell is Perplexity going to do with it? Like,
make it the gateway to Perplexity.
I mean, I don't know if that's a good user experience for 2 billion people that use Chrome every month. Like,
I don't know.
But yeah, I do think the courts will get involved with this. Apparently, Renaissance dumped 5 million of SoFi. Okay, so that's a big dump. I don't know exactly how much they added 12 million shares of Nubank.
Did you see Noto on Twitter?
No, what did Noto say?
So, data driven tweeted something about hitting an all-time high or whatever, and Noto responded, "How do you like them apples?"
Do you like that he said that, or?
I mean, not really, but
really, you don't like Noto being aggressive?
No, because he's not Carp.
Because he's not Carp?
Yeah, that's something Carp would say.
There's the post right here. How do you like them apples? I don't know, bro. I think Noto's trying to finally, put himself out there.
I just think SoFi not to hit 24 this week.
Oh, you sold covered calls on these guys. They're 24 after hours. So
a lot of them.
A lot of them? Why'd you sell covered calls? You got bearish this week?
Last week. We went down to 21.50.
I mean,
I didn't think it was going to 24 this week.
Yeah, I mean, look, Noto doesn't really talk like this, so I get why you're a little turned off by it. But see, the thing is, when Carp says, like, read him and weep, he says it with swag. It's not some Twitter quote tweet, It's like there's a different vibe to it. So I get your point, but I also don't think it's the biggest deal in the world.
No, I don't think it's the biggest deal in the world.
Okay, Renaissance sold off. No, they added 5 million to Snapchat. They added 7 million to Intel. They added 12 million to Nubank and 6 million to NVIDIA. There you go. 2.5 on Lyft as well. Steve, what sound is that?
Lyft is insane.
Oh, was that your turn signal?
No. I opened my door for a second.
Oh, okay, got you.
Lyft. I don't. Why we? What? I don't get it. Uber's the one, not Lyft.
2.5 million on Lyft, 7.5 million to Fubo. He added to Big Bear AI too. Okay.
Oh, sector rotation.
Look.
To Big Bear AI.
No. I respect the big
Oh,
guys.
that's what just happened.
Hold on.
Just happened.
I respect the big guys, but I'm allowed to disagree with them. And he just bought a stock in Q2 that guided for negative 11% growth for the rest of the year.
You can disagree with whatever you want to disagree with, but the facts right now are he just sector rotated.
He did say no. He's in the same sector. He rotated within the sector.
Within the sector, he rotated.
Yeah. How much did he buy a Big Bear AI, guys? Let me see if I can find it. I'm curious.
Did you just say 2 million shares?
No, that was Lyft, 2.5 million.
Oh.
Dude, we got to get Buffett. What do you think is a secret stock? What is this guy buying?
I don't know. UNH probably, because that's why it's going up.
UNH?
I will say UNH is looking a lot more interesting after 2 or 3 days of it going up and it just declaring the dividend at the same price. It's actually looking like it may have bottomed. I got
Frozen? No, I'm back. Guys, I'm back. We're good.
Are you going to be in Jersey?
Um,
Or are you going to be in Miami or somewhere?
I'll be in Jersey for earnings. Okay, guys, we should be back. Sorry. I don't know why it was being weird. We back? Yes. Let me know. Are we back? We're back. Okay, cool. I don't know why the Wi-Fi was being dumb, but we're back.
Wait, why are you on Wi-Fi?
Dude, because I don't have the freaking router. I mean, I don't have the freaking Ethernet.
Do me a favor. I'm going to send you a router set up to buy. Okay? It's a MeshNet system.
Dude, it's not about that. I tried to set it up a while ago, but they said our house wasn't like in the appropriate position.
No. The router I'm going to send you, it's got the central base plus 2 satellites. It's a MeshNet system. Put a satellite in your freaking room where your computer is and just run the Ethernet cord from the satellite right to the back of your computer. You don't need Wi-Fi.
Well, look, I'm going to a new apartment. I think the internet's there is going to be a lot different. I don't know why it just ran. It was good all day, and now it just decides to be stupid. Like it's so annoying. But
could be the rainstorm.
It is raining outside. That is fair. That is true. That is a reason.
I think I'm going to order. Oh, by the way, one of my coworkers called me elderly because I order food by calling the restaurant instead of doing it online. Do you think that's an elderly move? Food by
We have all told you that's no one calls dude. You have restaurants on speed dial. No one does that.
Yeah, I have restaurants on my phone in my contacts. I just call and I order what I want.
Guys, is do I still look like a tomato, or is it a little bit better? At least the audio I think should be okay. No, look, you do that. That's fine. I don't care, but I don't think.
I think I'm going to order a hamburger and a vanilla milkshake.
You should do that, and you should spend some time looking at Grab tonight while you eat the.
I will look at Grab at some point this week.
I'm just saying, bro. I think it's time. I think it's time to look at it.
Maybe I'll do it tonight.
Yeah, maybe you like what you say. I think it's a classic stock for you. I think it's a stock you'll see some value in. But yeah, for Nvidia, yeah, I got to do the Nvidia stream. I don't think we can do a watch party because it's a big earnings and you kind of have to have everything.
Nvidia's gonna be big. I can't wait.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, the internet's back. Sorry, guys. I think it is raining hard outside, so it might be because of the rain. Are you buying more Nvidia going into earnings?
At the moment, I have not. I wouldn't be opposed to it. I mean, it went down a little bit today. I think if it gets under 175, I'd buy it because I do think Tanner's going to be right. It's going to be 200 plus by the end of the year.
Okay, so you're not buying, but you wouldn't be opposed to buying, basically.
Wouldn't be opposed to it.
Yeah, I think so as well.
Wouldn't be opposed to it. All right. Well, I'm going to get going. Are you doing any podcasts tonight?
No, not tonight.
All right. I will call you later, and I will try to figure out my due diligence on Grab at some point today.
You're actually committing to doing it today?
I'll look at it.
Okay, there you go, folks. You said it to everyone. You said it to everybody, so there you go.
I'll look at it. We'll talk, and I'll report back on Friday.
Okay, sounds good.
All right. Later, everyone.
All right, man. Later. All right, folks. I think that is it. Do I still look like a potato? I think I still look like a potato, so that's probably my cue to end the stream. Well, it's not that potato-ish. It's not that potato-ish. Okay. All right, cool. So we got some 13Fs, the big ones that I wanted, Bridgewater and Howard Marks. We got them. And we got 2 ads on Grabby Grab. I really don't care about the stock. I care about, is there anything the big guys are seeing? Because look, if they were just playing around with it and they were moving some money around, they would have been in and out and they would have not cared. The fact that they added 30% for Howard Marks, 59% for Bridgewater, to me just signals they see an opportunity. And I don't know how big that opportunity is, but we're not alone on this ride. We are not alone on this ride. You got 2 legendary investing firms with us. And, you know, at the end of the day, it's nice to have some people along with the party. That doesn't mean we're going to be right. But if that's the only tech company Howard Marks is in, and for Bridgewater, it's a small part of their portfolio, but adding that aggressively quarter over quarter, that to me at least can signal something headed in the right direction. Bitcoin right here, 123. We are trying to get the other $300 for Bitcoin to break out to all-time highs. Maybe later tonight. But you got Bitcoin right there, 123.34. And then ETH, they're really holding her down from 4,800. But 47.37 is what we got right now. And then again on Hood, I can't explain. If it's not an insider sell, let me check again if there's any new updates. If it's not an insider sell, the 5% move today feels, I don't even know. It's an institution, algos. It's not based on those July metrics that they put out. So seems like the entire sector. Yeah, no more insider sells I see right now. Seems like the entire sector for brokerages kind of just took a little bit of a hit. But the July metrics, if you're holding Hood, you can sleep well at night knowing that they crushed it in July. And if we get even a little bit of this momentum in August, we should get some momentum. For those saying to explain MicroStrategy, I will link right now in the chat a deep dive I did, an hour and a half on MicroStrategy. I think you will all enjoy it if you haven't watched it. So yeah, we've talked MicroStrategy on the channel many times. The thing I'm about to link is a proper deep dive. And for those that are confused about it, you can link that right there and listen to it later. D-Lo gapped up 21%. Dude, D-Lo, great earnings. Great earnings for D-Lo. They did their thing. For those that are in it, congrats. There you go. 21%. Not a bad move for D-Lo. So, Amit, what do I do tomorrow morning during market open? Dude, what do I do tomorrow morning during market open? I'm going to be as lost as you guys at 9:30. I'm just going to be staring at my Robinhood app. I'm going to have, that's why people are like, oh, when are you going to quit doing this? I'm like, dude, every day for the rest of my life at 9:30, I'm going to be looking at the portfolio. It's just like become a habit. So you might as well just do it with a lot of other people and talk about it. So I don't know. I don't know when I'm going to stop, but tomorrow it looks like we do need to take a break. Grabthesis.com. Grabthesis.com for those that want to check it out. I didn't actually buy that domain name. Someone bought it for me and they gave it to me. So That is my 20-page thesis on Grab. Lyft after hours got some high-profile ads. Lyft is flat, but they did get a Bridgewater ad and a Renaissance ad. So you got a decent number of shares going into Lyft in Q2. That one is flat after hours. I could do it from 8:30 to 9:30, but I have to be there 30 minutes before, and it's 40 minutes away. So technically, I have to leave at 8:30. And also, I can't close the stream at 9:30. 9:30 is when the market opens. So it just makes more sense to call it off for tomorrow. I really thought they would do middle of the day, bro. I did not think they would do 10 a.m. But they're doing 10 a.m. Berkshire has to report by Friday. So we're going to see. We'll see. Stream in the car. Dude, I, like, even today, I tried to, just check my phone and FSD, I legit wanted to throw my phone at the screen, bro. I got so pissed. I'm like, dude, I'm checking it for 2 seconds, and it was like, you're about to get a strike. And I'm like, okay, this thing is becoming useless if I can't check my phone for, I love FSD. It's amazing. But I need to be able to check my phone, bro, for 2 seconds. The thing was yelling at me. And then you get a strike and then you get banned for a week. And I'm like, okay, this is becoming really dumb. So I hope in the next update, they just allow it. I know there's legal stuff with unsupervised, but it's getting a bit ridiculous. So there's no way I could stream in the car because every second I look away, the Tesla's going to yell at me. That's why you need glasses. Yeah, I'm going to actually go buy the glasses, bro. I'm getting annoyed at this. And I don't text in the car. I don't do it. But for 2 seconds to check my phone. I'm not over here spending 30 minutes on it. I just need to check. Even to change the music, bro. They want you to use the button on the wheel. They don't want you to go through your music app just to check a song. And I'm like, okay, this is getting a bit aggressive. But yeah, maybe the sunglasses could help that. Yeah, FSD doesn't want to be responsible for Tesla stock crash. That is also fair. They said the next FSD update is going to reduce the nag extremely. I hope so. Because there are the only good part about it is when there's a red light, you're allowed to stand, you're allowed to look at your phone during the red light, the thing relaxes if it's a red light. But then the second it turns green, dude, when I was going to Boston and I looked out the side of the window just to see the views, they got mad at me. I'm like, can I just look outside? I'm trying to just look towards the left and see what's going on. And they're like, there was actually a rainbow. See, I'm not beating the allegations. I'm not, but they're legit. I think I took a picture of it. Hold on. I took a picture. There was a rainbow in Boston, and I wanted to take a picture. It was a rainbow. And FSD got so mad at me. I'm like, bro, it's a rainbow. I don't care how old you get. Rainbows look nice, dude. I'm never beating these allegations, bro. When did we go to, we did this in May, right? We did Boston in May. Dude, I have 40,000 pictures inside of my freaking camera roll. It's a bit ridiculous. But I'm never going to delete this stuff. And a lot of it's just screenshots of stocks. Because I'm posting them on Twitter. When did we do Boston? We did Boston end of May. Yeah, there it is. Let me see the rainbow. Yeah, there it is. Look at this. Look at that. That, folks, is a rainbow. And FSD got mad at me for trying to capture the moment. So there you go. There you go. All right. I think that's it. So no stream tomorrow. I'll be back on Friday. Again, grabthesis.com for those that are asking. You can check it out and read it there. This is not a guaranteed winner, but we did see 2 major additions in Q2, which leads me to believe they're forming a real position. They're forming a real position. They're not just messing around. And if we see a Q3 addition and they continue to add, then they actually like the name and they're sticking with it and they're ready to hold it long term. So we got to see. We got to give them another couple quarters, but it is nice to see that we're getting some of that momentum. And then Bitcoin, again, flirting. It is indeed flirting. It is very close to all-time highs, super close. 123.60. Trying to get there. Maybe it happens tonight along with Ethereum. So there you go. Miami meetup is not at capacity yet. I will put out the form here one more time. I think we have like 50 spots left. So we do have spots, but if you really want to go, I will send one more email. I sent a couple emails last night, so we got some more people that are coming through. So you can sign up on the form below, and I'll send you an email tonight on signing up for it. So there you go. You just explained why FSD is safer than human drivers. Yeah, I mean, look, that's fair. I mean, this is what I tell my mom when she gets scared of I'm using FSD. I'm like, Mom, I cannot touch my phone. Like a regular human that doesn't have this tech overlord AI thing that's going to stop it from doing a phone check doesn't have to worry about that, right? Because they can just check their phone, which means they could get into an accident. My gripe is not really with the texting and driving. My gripe is with if you're so good at driving, I should be able to be productive, even to the tune of like 30 seconds without you nagging me. And that's the reason I'm more upset with it, which I think we're getting there. We will get there, man. And then I think it's going to be a game changer because the amount of times I need to check my phone just to do something is like a lot when I'm in the car. And it's very annoying when you can't. So I think when we get there over the coming, hopefully months, not years, it's going to make it even better. Because already I love not having to worry about the driving. It just opens up your brain to think more. But if I could actually do stuff while not driving, that would be nice as well. So we're going to see. CalPERS, the biggest U.S. pension, invested heavily in tech stocks during Q2, buying shares of Coinbase, Palantir, NVIDIA, and Robinhood. How much AUM does CalPERS have? Let's see. Okay, so you got, wow, 556 billion. This is California Public Employee Pension Fund, Retirement System, CalPERS. Dude, that's $500 billion in California. Palantir, Coinbase, NVIDIA, and Robinhood is what they added. Okay, Palantir, NVIDIA, Robinhood, those are top three for me. So nice to see that. And then you got Coinbase as well. 556.2 billion. All right. There we go. There we go. All right, folks. I'm gone for the next 24 hours. I'll be back on Friday. I will be on Twitter, so you'll see me tweeting on Twitter regardless. I will try to dig up more of this 13F stuff and aggregate all this stuff. Maybe we get Stanley Druckenmiller and Buffett tomorrow. I'll tweet about it if it comes out. If not, and we get it Friday, we'll cover it live on Friday. And if we do get it tomorrow, then I'll cover it. I'll cover it Friday on the Market Open. And so that's it. That's what we got. Maybe you yap in your sleep too. Dude, my mom, so she took off from work for the past week. And I don't think she's been home and she's not seen my grind like throughout the day. Like, I know it seems like I'm just talking in front of a camera, but there is a lot of stuff I'm doing in regards to meetings and all this stuff. I have a dinner in New York tomorrow. It's actually a really important dinner. Can't say what it's about, but it's a really important dinner. And basically, I got to go get a deal done tomorrow. I got to go negotiate and get a deal done. So that's another reason I can't do the close, because as soon as we're done with the moving, I'm going to New York. But it's just a lot of talking throughout the day. And so for the past 2 days, she's seen me just run up and down the stairs. I'm in a meeting. I'm in this. I'm in that. Market open ends after 3 hours of talking, 2 meetings. And then boom, you got the market close. And that's talking. When I go downstairs right now, she's going to be like, how are you just talking for the last 3 hours? So she's actually seeing now like the grind of just like constantly creating content, which it's a grind. Now I love the grind, but it is a grind. And so I think she's like actually seeing, what it's like. But I love it. And when you get to see Grabby Grab get an addition from 2 of the big guys, it also is nice to yap about it. You're a true grinder. Okay, I think that's how we end the stream. That's why that is why we are going to end the stream right there. You are a true grinder. You're not leaving. You're looking for any reason to stay right now. No, I'm actually trying to leave. It's just my mind is running constantly, and then you have things to say, and then I end up just talking. Dude, CalPERS bought 3.5 million shares of Palantir. That California pension fund, 3.5 million. Or sorry, they have 3.5 million. They bought 310,000. That's a 10% increase. It's a lot. It's a decent amount of Palantir. Decent amount of Palantir. All right, cool. Trump is not live. He was already live today. buy again. Did you guys know by now the first buy is not the buy? The first buy is the introduction for the eventual buy, which is usually 25 minutes later. But it's not the first buy. All right, cool. That's it. First day off in like 4 months. We'll be back on Friday. I'll be on Twitter covering everything. But I will see you guys on Friday. Thank you all for being here, morning and evening. Thank you all for the super chats. Again, a little bit of an ugly day in the markets in certain sectors, but overall, August going not too bad. Earnings have been good. And now we're going to see what Drux, Buffett, Ackman, all these guys are doing with their portfolios as well. All right, that's it. Thank you, everybody. Appreciate it. I will see you guys on Friday morning. Bye, everybody. Love you all. Have a good one.